Hello everybody. Welcome to another YouTube stream. It has been a while. It's been a bit. Been a little bit. I have returned. Welcome. We actually, I wanted to start now. We have a little bit of breaking news. So Warner Brothers, among others, was it another one too?
I think it was Amazon, Warner Brothers, and Disney. Right now, I didn't look super in depth with it, but I think it was Amazon, Warner Brothers, and Disney.
Yeah, they are basically revoking licenses from people to have copies of movies and TV shows and stuff. So, yeah, you'll own nothing and you'll like it.
Yeah, they're basically saying like Disney saying. And by the way, sorry I'm not on video, guys. We have my camera set up to record my video course, my singing course, so I don't have video at this moment.
That's okay. You have me.
Yeah. So the basically they're saying like Disney's not gonna release things digitally anymore for people to download from their platforms, and other services are starting to revoke licenses of things people purchased in lieu of putting them availably on their like highly available on their streaming platforms. So they're taking away your ability to like have a copy of the things that you purchase, or they're not even really giving you the option to purchase them anymore.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stream my screen so you can see what it is. Unfortunately, this guy, I think he was on the whatever podcast. Was that guy?
It looks like it. Oh my.
Yeah,
goodness. He's a psyop.
If this guy is what they think that an alpha male is, like that's so bad. Like, where are all my sigma males?
I don't want to watch it.
This is why I can already tell, because I watched the whatever podcast episode with this guy. He is just a nightmare. So obviously, any woman who sees a man like this, any guy who references himself as the alpha, is already a red flag, right? Sigma males are, but this guy is like the entirety of the problem.
Can everybody hear me okay?
Can you guys hear Zach all right? Hey Frost, holding up okay? Man, I haven't said exactly on my channel yet. I haven't expressed exactly what happened with my job and how I got fired over pronouns, by the way. If you're interested in that story, I made a short. Go look at the short that I made a few days ago, and then look in the comments. My pinned comment is the link to the full explanation. So go on my shorts, find the short, look in the pinned comments. It's there.
Alpha Zach. Okay. I would never refer to myself as an alpha.
Are you sure one of these two isn't a Zimzir Zed? Oh god. Oh god. It's so awful.
Yeah, I've determined before this starts. I wanted to say this. I'm gonna say it. I'm just gonna say it. To accept trans people, you also have to accept that they are pathological liars.
Yeah.
Because to tell people that you are, just at the most basic level, to call someone, to say that you are not something that you are, is a lie. So you can either accept their lie and live as if their lie is truth, or you can say that they are liars. All this feelings about gender, blah, 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 does not take away from the fact that inherently people who are trans that are turning into a different whatever, or saying they're a different whatever, are inherently liars. That is my, thank you for listening to my TED Talk. That's my soapbox.
No, Zach is Sigma male. Good, you can hear him? Alright. Ready, guys? We're gonna...
Oh, I don't want to watch this. Just his face makes me want to, like, destroy my monitor. I don't want to watch it.
We're watching it.
Men should be the stable ones. Men don't need to be crying in front of women.
You can't hear it?
Nope.
Try that one.
Can't see it now. Wait, hold on. Trying to play it.
Men should be the stable ones. Men don't.
We're good.
Okay. 2012 may not have been perfect, but at least the corporate press wasn't paying to make Tumblr real life. You know what? I was definitely a Tumblr person. I had like 3 blogs and they had thousands and thousands of followers. And I did pretty well on Tumblr, to be honest. And I mean, it was my favorite social media site back in the day. But that was when I was cringe. So anyway, let's begin.
Men should be the stable ones. Men don't need to be crying in front of women. And ideally, they're not splitting chores. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I think that if a woman cannot look up to you in some way, then she cannot respect you. And if she cannot respect you, she cannot love you.
I totally disagree. Totally.
I totally agree.
Totally disagree.
All right. I don't know if I'm. What?
Just nothing.
What?
The alphas and the betas. Imagine. I'd like to be on this show representing the betas.
I'd like to represent the betas. I just.
Forward if you agree with the prompt.
I am a beta.
Men are designed to want to sleep with multiple women.
Oh, can I get my answer?
Yes.
Yes.
Ew. That's gross, though.
But I could justify it, and I'm not saying that they should. It said that the prompt is men are designed to.
Biologically designed.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
gross, though.
But it's not. I'm not saying that they should. I'm not saying that they do. But biologically, we are capable and designed to. Yes.
And biologically, that's gross.
Well, blame Mother Nature. I'm not saying you should. I'm saying that you can. All the betas said.
Yeah, I would say I definitely agree that men, want to sleep with multiple women. I think
Okay.
it's natural because
Why do these guys qualify as alpha? Where's your alpha degree? Where's your credentials?
Yeah, they already made this guy already made a huge error, right? You said that they're designed to, and he says that they want to.
Yeah. No, it says designed to want to. Is what the statement
Oh,
says.
designed to want to. Stupid.
Yeah.
one of the things is because we have so much sperm and that we we
Yeah.
produce so much sperm, and that makes us want to repopulate
Yep.
the earth
he's right.
basically. And so a lot of times what happens is I think that society is telling men not to do that for whatever reason. You know what I
What
mean?
is
And
this
some
shit
guys fall into
saying?
that, but I definitely believe that
Oh, well, I don't
men
know.
actually want to be with multiple women.
I don't
because
know.
it's
When it
just
goes
a
back on him,
natural
I'll
thing in us.
pause
This is why
it.
you hear all the time, men always
Submissive women are sexy. That's not good.
Oh, this is great.
Please contain yourself. I think men are designed to procreate. If only one woman was available, I don't think you'd lose desire for that one female. So you're saying like their predisposition along with options is what makes it that way? Rather than just biologically?
cheating, and guys feel like they, trying to hide the cheating and everything like that. And if it was natural for them to just want to be with that one woman, then cheating wouldn't even be an issue. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it.
Yeah, I think for
There are plenty of animal species, though, that do stay with one female. And I mean, there are also female species, of course, that, kill the mate. So, Animal Kingdom's wild.
for the way we were cultured, I agree with that, but also to just through human history, right? For survival, maybe this is old school thinking, but it's just like for survival, you need to have lots of kids. So someone's pregnant, how do you keep multiplying? You just more women, right?
Right. I understand. I understand that on a biological level because obviously a woman can only have one child once a year. So, a man can have multiple children in 1 year, of
You
course.
can have 365 kids a year or more. You can have 1,000 kids in a year if you were.
Yeah,
busy enough,
that's That's insane. This is why the women get the short end of the stick here.
Yep.
Because in that regard, biologically, there's no reason for a man to stay faithful at that point. Like, so.
Well, I think that you have to look at that from the perspective of if a man is tapping into that biological necessity to procreate, then he should logically and rationally have a vested interest in making sure that his offspring survive. But I also think that there are plenty of men that just see it as sport. And they are the ones that, you know, overextend themselves. And I'm sure that there are countless records in human history of in the old days of men procreating with lots of women and then having tons of offspring. You know, I mean, but like there was so much. The population is, gosh, this is the topic nobody wants to talk about, right? Population is such an issue. Like at the same time, the fertility rate in certain countries is like horrible, but we are also massively overpopulated in terms of proportion. You know, if you look, I think it's the theory of fractals. I think it is. I think that's what it's called. Correct me if I'm wrong in chat, but I think it's the theory of fractals that traces the population growth of a species and shows that extinction events happen when after a certain like disproportionate break off from the amount of a species existing in the wild. And I think humans are like 6 times past that limit in terms of their population. So, you know, that's an indicator that both men and women are having too many kids in terms of nature's proportion, but at the same time, there's certain entire nations in the world where their fertility rates are so low that if it continues, the countries will go extinct. They'll disappear. So it's a weird little conundrum that humans have found themselves in now.
Indeed. Ever seen a peacock spider's mating dance? It doesn't end well for the male, even if he wins. Funny.
Yeah.
Not saying it's right or wrong, but it's just kind of the way. I think women even cheat too. It's like 50-50.
Yeah, I think women also want to.
Women cheat for different reasons. Women cheat because of hypergamy.
Yeah, it's still just as bad though. There's no better cheating.
No, I'm not justifying any way of cheating, but like to say like, well, women also cheat is 50-50, like the number might be accurate, but the reason is not comparable.
Well, the women cheat because they think they're going to have more of an alpha than what they have.
Or they're, well, I don't know. I mean, I can't say that generally. I can't say just a general statement like that, but I think it's because, you know, women are looking for the ultimate long-term mate in theory.
So they go to another relationship that's in lieu of the one that's supposed to be the long-term mate?
I don't understand. I don't understand women. I understand myself. Less than 1 baby per mother in South Korea currently. Oh yeah, and I mean, there are certain parts of the world that are doing just fine, trust me. But it's not on our side.
Do their thing, you know what I'm saying, in some situations, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's just men. I think it's a natural, like I feel like because that desire is there, it's a natural thing for, you know, if we're talking specifically men, that desire to want to do it is natural in us, so then therefore you're going to want to do it. So I don't think it's a natural thing to just be with this one woman, but at the same time when I'm with this one woman, I only want to stay with her. It's almost like I'm lying to myself if I just want to be with her. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. That doesn't make any fucking sense.
That's terrible.
The logic is ridiculous. Like I almost was like, oh, maybe he's going somewhere with that. Like, oh, if you find a woman that you want to commit to and you want to have offspring with and you want to take care of that offspring, you want to take care of those children, therefore staying committed and protecting and being a protector of your tribe. I thought he was going in that direction, but then he went off kilter naturally.
But the question is that the end point? Is being with multiple women the end point? I'm of the firm belief that it is important to position yourself as a man to have the capacity to be with as many women as you possibly can, and position yourself in a way where you understand female nature and you maximize your potential as a man.
Ew.
And that's where
I don't necessarily.
That
agree
doesn't
with that just because
maximize your
there's a deeper
potential as a
desire.
man.
That's gross.
Sleeping with more women does not maximize your potential. What does that even mean? Like, are you saying that sleeping with more women and procreating maximizes the versions of you and your
Yeah, what
progeny
the-
that are out in the world? Is that what your potential is? Because
No
that
way.
seems like
Having a
that
child and
seems-
taking care of it and protecting it and protecting the female is what makes you a great man.
Well, if you're deferring to your further generations to be your potential, then that means you aren't reaching your potential yourself.
Right. Yeah, yeah, that's very true. That's reaching outwardly for your own potential to grow. Like,
Yeah, that's
not even working on
actualization.
yourself. Like,
Yeah, it's not.
it's just
That's
selfish,
flawed.
carnal BS.
Yeah, it's flawed. It's flawed logic.
Continue to do it means it's going to be the most optimal thing for you and your own ability to thrive at the highest level and connect with God here on earth.
I was
And
talking
then, and then he brings God into. Is this guy a Mormon? Is he a Mormon?
be with multiple women, right? But it's like, especially, I mean, here's the thing, especially when you're in a relationship, right? It's like, it's better to grow together with somebody than multiple people, which I totally agree. But I think in the dating
Like,
terms,
they
it's
might
like,
be
I don't know.
alphas, they might be betas, but they're all idiots.
That's because there are no Sigma males. It should have been alphas, betas, sigmas, but that's because they know that the sigmas are the best, so they couldn't do that. The sigmas would be the ones that are like, y'all are stupid.
Wrong with being multiple women. Because I think that's
There's
just,
nothing wrong with being with multiple women. Arder.
Oh
dating.
my
It's
god.
experimenting, it's finding other people. But are we naturally made to just always be with one person? It's like, if that were true, then these first thoughts of being with another woman, even though I'm in a committed relationship, would never occur. But it comes up once in a while. But it doesn't mean I'm.
Did this man just did this man just do that on YouTube to all these viewers and his girlfriend at the same
my
time?
God.
Did he just say that to all of these viewers and his girlfriend at the same time? I
Acting upon it. So,
And you might be being generous about saying once in a while. Probably goes up quite a bit.
well,
Oh
it
my-
depends what kind of relationship you're in, I guess.
Oh
or
my
how-
God.
How good of a day it is, right? Like, but I would say for
had a bad day, so I fantasized about cheating on my girlfriend 6 times today rather than the usual 3.
Oh my god.
me, if it was
This is an
totally
hour long.
natural,
We're 3 minutes in.
even though I was nurtured into only being with one woman, that these thoughts wouldn't.
I was natured.
Nurtured, natured.
Right, and the thing with me, I'm non-monogamous, so I have a wife, I have a girlfriend, and I still,
Oh my
from time
god.
I'm non-monogamous. That's what makes me alpha, you guys. I'm
I
non-monogamous.
can't.
I have a wife and a girlfriend.
I can't do this. This is a disgrace on men.
time hook up with other girls. You know what I mean? And so, and the thing is, it feels regular to me. It doesn't feel like I'm trying to do it or doing it because I'm
The
forcing
girl's
myself
feeding the
into
guy
doing it.
grapes on his shirt.
Yeah.
Oh my god. What? That is so cringe.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, there's something to be said about the women who are allowing him to do this. His wife, his girlfriend, and his other girls or whatever. Like, the other girls that aren't committed to him are actually the ones probably on top. Because, he's paying for whatever they want to hook up with him and then, just leave and not have to deal with, the heartbreak that'll eventually come with his wife, I'm sure. I mean, or maybe his wife is cheating on him too, but I don't know. These seem like the types that are like, I can cheat on you, but you can't cheat on me. That's what these types seem like. We'll find out.
It's natural, like it's something I want to do. You know what I mean? And so to not do it feels unnatural. You might just want this one woman for a relationship. I can understand that. But sexually, though, I think it's all BS.
Yeah, I agree. I think a man can absolutely be head over heels in love with a woman and still sleep with other women and it not mean anything to him.
Right.
And I think all men have the proclivity to want to sleep with other women.
Why?
Whether they're able to speak to that and actually act on that or not, or if they've been able to, like you said, like religiously find a way to work around it. And I think religion has been great for that, because if it weren't for religion, we probably would not have society. But I think what's most important to identify.
Wait, is he saying that religion is what keeps this kind of like thought process alive?
Well, no, he's saying that religion is giving people a reason to like build families, build dynasties, because they believe that
With
their
multiple
lives
women?
are- Well, I don't know if he needs to. This guy, like,
He's the
I don't even
worst.
need-
I
I
saw
don't
him
know
on
if
whatever and
he
he was
even
bad.
believes the shit that's coming out of his mouth. He's full of it. But I think that the in his pea brain, I think that his logic is that because there has been religion, people have been justified and felt comfortable and safe in the idea of building a dynasty and a legacy for themselves because God carries their legacy on.
Yeah.
Like I think that's his backwards thought process. I think.
Cringe. I know like Catholics and Christian people who are very committed to one person. Like it's monogamy in Christianity, in the realm of Christianity. I don't understand this.
Even in my worst relationships that I've been in my life, I've never thought about cheating. I just don't. Like if I don't want to be in a relationship with someone, I'll leave. I should leave, right? Like
Yep.
I don't think I'm gonna go find somebody else to satisfy me temporarily and come back to this miserable relationship that I'm in. It's just like why? What's the point? Why not just end the relationship and then go get what you want? Because you're clearly not getting what you want.
Because if you have enough money, you can keep them on the hook, and maybe they'll have your babies. Okay.
Is that a man should create choice in his life. And if you have choice, you should be able to do as you wish, particularly like in your case, like in my case, if there's no deceit.
Exactly.
It's the lying. That, in my opinion, is actually the overall problem when guys...
You're
you
no
know, tend to go
different than a
outside
leftist,
relationship.
dude.
They lied to the woman.
Mm.
That's the problem.
So when I was growing up, I was
You're
under the belief of
polyamorous.
being with one woman,
Yep.
right? Like I was a virgin for a very long time. Then one girl broke my heart. So that caused like a lot of insecurity, resentment towards the other side, right? And then I just became like a man whore for a little bit.
The problem is you have guys who are monogamous, but they're monogamous.
Let me take my trauma from a past relationship of a girl that, wasn't deserving of monogamy, and let me just completely destroy the hearts of however many other women because of one girl.
Okay, I want to respond to a comment. Chaos Bird says Jacob Israel had 2 wives and 2 concubines for its worth, even if he had a motive. Well, so I think that, I'm not a Christian, first off, but I know the Bible very well. And God instructed many of the people that he blessed in his early lineage to be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and subdue it. He said that to Adam and Eve. He said that to Noah, flood. So the entire lineage of these people is based upon what they believe is a God-given right to procreate.
But there
as
was
much as
only
they can.
Adam and Eve, though.
No. I'm talking about no, Ellie. Hold on. This is when you talk about the Hebrew law, you talk about the way that the laws that were established for people back then. The idea was to create this big tribe of God, right? Yeah. It was the tribe of Judah. Was that supposed to be what? I don't remember, but there was supposed to be a big tribe of God. So it was common for the people back then to be able to have the ability to create as many children as possible. Look at the Book of Numbers. The Book of Numbers is literally nothing but a big list of lineages of forefathers of this group of people and all of their concubines, so that you could trace back whether or not you were part of this God-given holy lineage.
Where's Rockefeller and J.P. Morgan in there?
I'm sure they think they're in there somewhere. But my point is that I think that if people want to take a religious argument of, I have a religious background and having concubines and stuff, well, that's why religion, I think, is a net negative. If you give space for the time and men having concubines, then it was because there literally weren't enough people to do the things that needed to be done, and so you had to have more people around to be able to. It's like a lot of times kings and they'd have concubines so they could have soldiers, people that would fight in the military, right? I don't remember the name specifically, but yeah. But my point is that in that time frame, it was much more acceptable to deliberately procreate with lots of women so that you have a bigger tribe of people as a whole. It wasn't just a singular tribe, it was multiple tribes.
And also, I wanted to, we talked about this a little bit before we started, but back then, life expectancy was literally half of what it is now.
Yeah, you lived at 35.
So people were having children younger, people were having multiple children with multiple women because there is a good chance that your offspring would die before adulthood.
But Ellie, there's one thing that you don't know that I do want to add on this regarding biblical stuff. If you look in the Bible, there are multiple parts of the Bible where it talks about the ages that people lived to. People, according to the Bible, lived to be like, what, 900 years old? Was it Methuselah? Let me see. What was
I
the
know.
age?
I mean,
Yeah,
George
so the
Soros
longest-
is basically like 600 years old.
So, like, for example, Methuselah in the Bible had the longest lifespan of everyone, apparently. He lived to be 969 years old. And that, so the Bible, with the Bible's genealogy shows that there were a lot of people who lived to be like hundreds of years old, 180 years old, 200 years old. But see, the thing is, what I've looked at biblical historians who have said that the reason for that is basically that this is all theory, but they say that according to the biblical stuff, the gene pool was a lot clearer. There weren't as many diseases. The world wasn't as damaged.
Gene pool was a lot clearer, meaning, your brother, sister, cousin.
Basically, well, yeah, because that's all you had. Yeah, basically, yes.
Clearer, sure. Hey, Riddle.
Monogamous because they're forced to be monogamous. In a way, meaning that they have no choice because they don't have the skill to attract multiple women.
And a lot of times they'll use that as virtue signaling. I would never do such a thing. Well, actually, bro, you can't.
All right. Can the disagree step forward?
I remember when I would like go on tour and things like that.
Oh, God.
My friends would always try to encourage me to like hook up with girls that were on to me. But I wasn't really like into it.
This guy looks like he's like, is like on something.
No, I'll show you what he looks like. He looks like a character from Final Fantasy VI named Gal. Hold on. I'm gonna show you. Hold on, hold on.
Weird, like off, like there was something wrong with me. And now I'm at a point in my life where I feel like I'm only having sex with multiple women, so I'm not weird, so I'm quote unquote normal. I feel like even when I do have sex with these random women, it doesn't give me any gratification. And I know that comes with like random sex in the end, but I know in the back of my mind that like I just like simply don't enjoy this. Like I've been with multiple women and I've been with one woman, and being with one woman is just so peaceful.
I mean, being with one person is peaceful. Yes, I'll agree with him on that. But like the whole like I need to sleep with multiple women to not be weird. Like maybe you're just And I'm not trying to sound like a like a cuck leftist here, but like maybe he's struggling with his sexuality, or there's like some sort of trauma he needs to sort out. If he's really thinking that he needs to do that just to not be weird. And obviously if he finds peace in monogamy, that's good, that's healthy, that's fine. Though I think that this man is not all there. I feel like he's acting.
Look at the picture I sent you. That's what he looks like.
It's about quantity over quality in the name of survival. We're meant to be beyond that. Right. Yeah, for sure. You're very wrong, sir, with all respect. Do I get the feeling he's a lying liar?
Yeah, kings took concubines aside from Abraham. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about the Abrahamic tribes. That's specifically what I'm talking about when I say that. Because God told that tribe to fill the earth and subdue it. Like that was because they were God's people.
This is what Zach sent me.
That's Gal. He looks like him. The character from Final Fantasy VI. Like that's like the art, the concept art from him.
Peaceful, as far as like telling young men that they're born this way and that they should feel this way, it can really not do damage, but just sort of make you second guess things about yourself. Am I normal? Am I weird? Is there something off about me? Everyone else around me is saying that I have to feel this way or I have to do these things.
So what kind of people are you surrounding yourself with, honestly? Like this guy just looks like he's been obviously, you take a look at this guy and he's been influenced by very, very bad people.
Look at his eyes.
Yeah, like
he looks like
he's half dead. So I mean, obviously, if he's saying that he was around people that were like being mean to him about not wanting to sleep around because he's a, I don't know, a musician or whatever the hell he is, then that's
What?
just bad clientele that he's been around.
What does this pin say?
And I
Gay
don't feel
pride.
encouraged to do that.
Oh, so he's gay.
But yeah, so that kind of goes along with it.
Why
Maybe
is he on
was,
this panel?
maybe he was struggling with sexuality. Maybe he might be bi.
Like, he doesn't need to be on this panel. It's not. This isn't his clientele.
Obviously, I mean he's on the beta quote unquote side. So
Yeah, but like, I mean, if beta just means gay, then like
beta doesn't mean gay per se, I think. But I don't understand the pin. Maybe it means he's bisexual. He obviously has talked about being with women, so that's why he's on this panel, because he has experience with women.
what kind of woman would
Also,
have an
that's not
experience
true,
with
though. I
him?
don't think that we should promote
pff.
sleep with multiple women. I think that we should promote choice and what feels right to you. So in your particular case, I would never tell you to sleep with multiple women. I think you might be doing the right thing to do exactly what you're doing and not do it, or stop doing it. It's not about pushing it on the young men, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of young men that have a demon inside and maybe are really upset and frustrated with themselves because they feel a certain way. And it's like, oh, I'm coming out the closet, I'm straight, you know, or super straight or too straight or whatever it is. I think that it's really going to be about choice, man. So,
Super straight. It's
me
so
to you, I tell
dumb.
you, if that you don't feel good doing that, man, I wouldn't do it at all.
Yeah, I agree. In your situation, well,
He looks like 1992 Maynard James Keenan.
You have guys who will have sex with multiple women because they're trying to fill a void. So it shouldn't be about filling a void. It should be about you
He's wearing a
actually
dress.
desiring. So you don't
Yeah.
desire to do it, so which is why you shouldn't do it. But there are guys who desire to do it, but then they're suppressing their desire, and then it's doing the same thing as.
I mean, he's wearing a dress, but this guy's literally wearing a shirt that says "submissive women are sexy."
They're all idiots. I mean, we've already established that. Like, we're dealing with a panel of idiots. So I mean, I don't like.
you not wanting to do it. Like they feel weird about not doing it, but they want to. Whereas you felt weird doing it, but you didn't want to.
I think it's a society thing. Like what you just said, who's making them feel guilty about not doing it? Other men. The reason, I think women and men, the question was, do you feel that men are meant to sleep with multiple women? Or they're just, you know, that's what they do. And I don't think that's true. I think it's a part of your character and who you are. I do believe that if you're going to be honest with your partner is into it.
Just because
Do I
you don't
believe that
sleep
we
with
are
women doesn't mean that other
biologically
men don't want to
and
sleep
it's
with
in
women.
our head because we have to procreate and this and that. I don't believe that. I believe
Like,
the
all these
reason we do
betas
it
are just gay.
lot-
Well, we
Of course,
don't.
they don't want to sleep with multiple
We
women.
don't know. All right. No. Stop. We don't know that this guy is gay. Obviously, I don't think that they would have people on this panel if like they didn't have experience with women. Like, but you're not gay, but you're being a hypocrite right now because you just said you're obviously not gay, and you just said that you don't want to sleep with multiple women.
My
So-
point, I'm being facetious.
You're
My
being
point is that,
hypocritical.
like, my point is that why are you going to have somebody on a panel talking about the notion to sleep with women when you don't even sleep with women? That doesn't make any sense.
You don't know who he sleeps with. Chill.
lot is because
I mean, I'll take a
it's
bet.
looked upon as a great thing for men to have multiple women. Women are ashamed for that.
I see Maynard dressing like that for
Ashamed totally.
sure.
I have one son and two
Yeah.
daughters, and I know the difference of how I felt when they were 15 or in their 20s.
Did you guys see random side thing here? But did you see how people were trying to say like, oh, Tool frontman Maynard James Keenan protesting DeSantis laws in Florida against trans, and he was like, no, I just dress and drag. I don't know anything about Florida. Did you see that? That was really funny to me. And I knew it too. When people were trying to take it out of proportion, like it was some big like political stunt. Like Maynard doesn't do politics. He thinks that both sides are crooked. So, but he also just dresses and drag for fun. It's just he's weird. So it's just what he does.
15 versus him having multiple partners or my daughter?
So if I could stroke a check for $1 million and never feel that feeling again, I absolutely would. I really, really would. It's something that I really hated myself for, and I felt very apart. I grew up in the South Louisiana. It was a Bible Belt. And I felt very distant from people around me because I had this urge in me and could not understand why I was so different. Like the biggest self-hate I've ever felt in my life is over this particular subject. I thought I was broken.
And I understand you. And me, again, I'm going to come back with, just being around it. And me, I'm bisexual. I've always have been. But like
See,
you
they're
already said,
bi.
I'm
They're
married to
not
a woman for 30
gay,
years,
gay.
And I've been committed for 30 years. doesn't that I don't have that desire. It's my character to say this is my person, and that's who I want to be with.
So
Now
that's
you're
what
making a character versus is the driver.
I was gonna
Right,
say.
but then that goes back to, are we just built that way? Because if we're just built that way as men, then there's multiple people that I'm going to want to sleep with.
But I think what I was under the impression with that question was, are we biologically DNA
Right.
created for that? I say yes, but I love and I agree with what we're saying here. It's like, but as men, right, in the culture and awareness and being a human being, having a consciousness, choice, language, we can choose not to. We can go
I
against
agree
those
with that.
desires or
Yeah.
urges and stuff.
If you feel that desire and you're honest with your
Yeah, yeah.
partner, I believe that is true. Do I believe that we are biologically meant to, we just biologically want to sleep with more people
All right.
because we have penis between our legs and not a vagina?
All right, pause it.
Well,
Pause
let me
it.
ask you
Pause
this
it.
though, 'cause
This is a, you can break this down very simply to prove this person wrong. Okay, if there were, if you're on a desert island, just create a hypothetical. Okay, if you're on a desert island and you have one man and 6 women, and the only way that the human species at that point on that island is going to survive is if they procreate. Who's going to be the one facilitating all the procreation? The man is. The man is the one that's going to be the one that has to make the procreation happen with all the women because he has the capacity to, and the women wouldn't have options. Now,
yeah,
this is
but
obviously a
we
situation
don't.
that-
We don't live on an island, and we are
I know.
intelligent human beings who
No.
live in a civil society. In theory, I mean, our society is currently dying, so I don't know
You-
anymore.
Let me finish. What I was saying is that you have to think of this back in the old days, okay? When humans were just developing.
Yeah.
Humans had there had to be enough humans to survive against nature. Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that he's wrong ideologically, but I'm saying that he is wrong biologically. That men are built that way for a biological proclivity that we have to preserve the species. And now that has been all messed up because there's more people here than there needs to be in the first place. But the point is that we do have a biological propensity to sleep with multiple women for the purposes of procreation, but because society has developed, we don't have to anymore, so we don't all feel that evolutionary biological need to do that. Some people have not evolved past that.
Yeah, it's not good to not evolve past that because then you end up with a bunch of fatherless children.
I agree. But they're both wrong. What I'm saying is that both of these people in this discussion are wrong. They're both wrong.
The reason why men, sorry boys, the reason why men need to go past that biological proclivity is because if you continue with that, if you let your instincts take over in that regard, then that means you will have fatherless children and you will destroy society, not build it.
That's true. You're right.
you said you're bisexual, so that means you're attracted to men and women, right? So if you're with a woman, well, aren't you also attracted to men? So wouldn't you want a man and a woman?
No.
So you're just like, I just want one, and that's.
I made a commitment, and it's not even like I'm.
But there's no urge to want.
There's always
more?
urge.
That's what I'm. That's what we're talking
See?
about.
But
See?
that doesn't
See?
mean that I'm biologically. I think men and women both have urges.
Where do you think the urge is coming from, though, if it's not biologically inside of you?
I think the urge comes from. I don't think it's a biological thing. I think.
Temptation, not urge.
I think
But the urge creates temptation, no?
But is temptation bad? Like you say it in a way that's kind of like
No.
temptation.
I don't think temptation's
It's
bad.
natural.
I don't think it's a thing of. All then that goes back to all of us. Then all of us are meant to sleep with multiple people. So then that's just a whole different society thing. But it's not just. The question was, as men, are we? And I don't think so.
But regardless, I think it's important to understand. 'Cause I think we are, and if we can come to terms with that, we can begin to move past it if that's what we desire. But if we reject that idea that it's not natural, then we can't move past it if that's something that someone wants to do.
But do you agree? it's
Yes,
just
you
men?
can, though.
Do you agree with that statement that it's just
They,
men? I think
they
it's
are
men.
not mutually exclusive. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. They can be mutually exclusive. You can have both. You can be aware of the proclivities and you can be aware of the natural urge, but you can also say that this is not fruitful in the world to be this way.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
You can like.
Is your fan on?
It's on low. I can turn it down if you need me.
Will you
to,
turn it off,
but
please? Yeah, and open the window. Thanks.
It's so hot.
Yeah,
There's so much-
I agree with you. I
There's
see what you're
noise
saying.
outside too.
In other words, the urge is a relic from thousands of years ago. Biologically, the instinct was put inside of humans in order to create a society, but now our society is so populated that you don't need, because men are, they're the sacrifices, right? People had children, people had boys that would turn into men that would go to war and sacrifice themselves for the kingdom or whatever. And the women, their role back then was to have more soldiers.
Yep, because they had to replace the people that were lost in the civilization, right? Think Civ, like when your population goes down, you got to feed people, right? Well,
yeah.
Like it's just like that. When your population goes down because of war, well, you've got to replenish that, and women are the way to replenish that. And so men had to, women can have 1 kid per year,
and men were the ones that were fighting. So in theory, that's why only like the royal men or whatever, they were the ones that had all the kids, because all the ones that weren't royalty got thrown out to war, and it's all BS. That's not how it should be, right? I don't agree with that. I don't think anyone should fight a war for someone else. But
what's happened is that antiquated kind of mindset carries over with people who teach their children that you should still have, this big legacy, this huge dynasty of yourself. Like that's
yeah, and dynasties aren't a good thing. That's why we're all broke, because the dynasties are the 1%.
Too.
Okay, that's where I disagree.
Oh no, because we just talking men,
right?
I agree that it's men and women.
What it sounded like was, and correct me if I'm wrong, people started talking about like infidelity and telling the truth, and I think like the urges and things are okay until you act upon it, and that's when both adults just have to have a conversation about this isn't working out for me. I still want to sleep around or whatever you want to call it. It sounds like some people want to have their cake and eat it too, which I don't necessarily agree with. And I think just as long as all parties involved have an understanding of what they're getting into, I don't see the issue.
I mean, honestly, I don't think I could say it any better than he did. Which I feel like most of us or all of us kind of agree upon, that in the end, it is a choice. That like, if you want to be in a poly relationship, that's fine, as long as everyone's in agreement. Obviously, don't be in a monogamous relationship and then like single-handedly choose to sleep with another woman without telling your partner. Like that's when like issues arise.
Hi, this is Ragini, the director of this episode. You can now stream your favorite episodes of Middle Ground on Spotify whenever you like. Please like this video if you enjoy watching it, and subscribe to our channel. Now, let's get back to the video.
Submissive women are more attractive than dominating women.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. Listen, my shirt says submissive women are sexy. Okay, so.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true. Look, I think one of the most beautiful things about love is being able to fully take care of a woman in every way, whether that's emotionally, protecting, providing, everything about that. Like every fairy tale that was ever written for all of time was about a man saving a woman from a castle and a dragon, right?
Yeah, but that's
why is he promoting that type of rhetoric? Yeah, like I don't agree with that rhetoric.
Yeah, that is what he doesn't realize is that type of attitude is what is putting such a disproportionate amount of pressure on men in society today to do things that are putting them at risk.
Yeah, but he doesn't care about you. You're not an alpha to him. He doesn't care about chat. He doesn't care about you guys, chat. You guys aren't alphas to him.
Yeah,
so he will continue that rhetoric that is hurting you guys in the long run because you know.
Yeah, sorry.
It benefits him.
It's hurting him too, because when it comes down to it, he's still going to be the one that has to make the sacrifice for all these women he collected. If it comes down to it in the world, he'll be the one that's expected to go last on the Titanic, right? He'll be the one that's expected to step in front of the bullet. It will still be him because of this exact attitude that he's perpetuating.
I do wonder what happens when I don't know if he's married or if he just has kids with multiple women, but like I wonder what happens if like they all try to like sue him for alimony at the same time. Like I wonder if they do like a bank run on this guy. I want all the women to do a bank run on this guy.
Yeah, the thing is like he is perpetuating the very problem that he acts like he has a solution.
I've always hated that saying, there's no point in having cake when you're not allowed to eat it. I'm personally offended. It's all good, Carnivals.
Or some sort of scenario like that. And I think that's absolutely beautiful. And I have nothing against women being empowered, but I do feel like the happiest women in the world are the ones that look up to a man and that he can fight every day to love her and love his kids and his family and provide. And
Yeah, until he goes and loves his other wife and his other kids. Like, what do you mean?
And be
How many
that
women
same-
are actually happy with him? That's what I he's happy with.
I saw, like I said, guys, I saw the Whatever podcast with this guy on it. And if you guys are interested, I could put a thing in my community tab on a vote. If you guys, I would also be willing to do like a reaction to a Whatever podcast, because those are just crazy.
It's tripe.
It's cringe and it's ridiculous. But anyway, he was on it and he was talking about how he does have multiple women and multiple kids with multiple women. So like the fact that he's trying to say, oh, there's nothing better than loving a woman and taking care of her and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, you're literally relying on your money to take care of your kids, and you're making your kids like take time away from you to try to be a quote unquote father to your other kids and your other women. Like, it's horrible. This guy is the worst. I know for a fact, because he said it on the Whatever podcast, that he has multiple kids with multiple women.
source of something to actually look up to. Like, I believe a woman can admire a man and it's very, very, very healthy. Am I saying that somebody that doesn't do that is not a man? No, I would never. But ideally, the relationships that are going to work, the relationships in, let's say, the 30s, 40s, 50s, or whenever, you know, we were having nuclear families stay together before we went off the gold standard and inflation pushed everybody to have two people have to have a job. Yeah, dude, I do. I think those relationships are much happier when a man can lead a house and be proud of going.
I do agree with that. I think that the government is predominantly responsible for the breakdown of the family unit because of how they manipulated the currency and the value of it, forced women into roles that they might not even want to had to do.
And ironically, the dynasties did that.
I know, but because that way other people can't make dynasties, right?
Going out and going to work every day and fighting for his family. Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I
think
do
we
agree with
need to
him.
look at general female happiness, because that's really what I'm into. Like, I don't really care what
I'm
guys think, what
into
girls think. I
I'm
think that's
into genuine female happiness. Are you, buddy?
the unique perspective in that I've worked with a lot of high-performing women that operate in this dominant role, and I work with them for the purpose of helping them be able to reintegrate with that more submissive, connected, intuitive part of themselves that really is connected to their bodies, that if they were connected to their bodies wouldn't be as dominant, at least in the presence of men.
What?
And with every woman that I've worked with, there is this deep, deep, deep desire, regardless of what she says externally, to submit to the leadership of a man that she knows can properly hold down the emotional space and really put her interest at the forefront.
Right, because when a woman is dominant over that man, she can't respect him. It's just impossible.
She can't feel safe.
Right, exactly. And the thing is with submission is like if you even look at the word submission, sub under a mission. If I have a mission and this woman is under my mission, meaning
Oh my god. Oh my god.
No, admission means to permit. Submit is to take away, or to like to submit to something is to take from or to deny from something or to give in to something. That's the antonym for submission, right? Let me make sure.
Oh my god. I'm the mission. I should be the mission of women. Is what he's trying to say, I think.
Defiance. Defiance is the antonym of submission, is defiance.
I'd blame feminism more than the government. The government asked women to go into the workforce. Feminism kept them there.
Submission, submitting is a similar word, yep. Surrender.
1913, 1971 are the biggest death blow US dollar. Oh yeah. 1913. Ugh. Horrible.
Rebelliousness. Insubordination.
right, then that is a actual good relationship that's going to flourish.
Truly, deep down, every woman would love nothing more than to be more feminine in a role, in a family, and take on that either that motherly role or that nurturing role, or the role that feels supportive to the overall mission of a man. It's just got to be a man worth getting behind, and weak men are the reason why this is a problem. Case in point, look at the workplace. You don't see women applying for jobs to be
I'm
power
torn on
guys
that point
or
because
being steel companies. They're not picketing outside of the United States Army being like, why won't you draft me? They don't want that smoke, bro.
Wait,
Like,
what? Who rang our doorbell?
Hold on a minute.
What the fuck? I gotta go to work now, but I paused the stream and will resume when I get time. Have a great day. Thank you, Carnivals. Thank you. I appreciate you. Have a good day at work.
And that's okay.
Right.
And I can't say enough. It's like, as a man, like, you get to take pride in taking care of a woman, protecting women. What about your daughters, man? You want to protect and provide, care for them. That's okay. Let them be feminine. A strong man doesn't need you to be a man. He say, fine, you can be a woman. You're safe, sweetheart. You come with me.
Right.
That's it.
There were just a few things that I disagree on. I think that in 2023 especially, I think women just want to be able to look to the side and see their partner as an equal.
I don't know.
And I think a lot of women now are
Weird.
Hold on.
I
I'm
don't
not
think
back yet.
they're
That's weird. I don't know. People keep ringing our doorbells. Sussy.
trying to be men. I think what they're realizing is that the qualities that they were looking for in men, they've always had it within themselves. If women are submissive, it's mostly for, I want to say, like, the validation for the man. I think they know in the back of their heads, like, they know now that they can do things on their own. But I don't think they necessarily need a man. But I think what they're looking for is that intimacy to have a partner. But I don't think that they require one.
Oh, no, they do. Because, you know, a lot of these girls, they usually go home and cry at night from being lonely, from not having a man. They have all these things, and then they're upset they don't have a man. You know what I mean? And I heard you say that, you know, women want to be the man's equal, but you don't see, and maybe this could just be a societal thing, a societal pressure, but you don't see women doing things that could make them equal to the men. You don't see the women approaching the men. You don't see the women paying for the dates. You don't see the women being more assertive to the man. You see what I'm saying? So where's that at?
Because they got options. They got so much more options than
Well,
men.
I'll tell you what you do see. You see a high level of women on antidepressants more than ever, right? And I think that's a bunch of women trying to cope with trying to be like a man when
I don't know about that. I think that the pharmaceutical industry is a bunch of snakes and predators. And I think a lot of guys are on these meds as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that was all about.
really, let me ask you a question. Are you more attracted to a woman that has a high-paying job or to a woman's beauty?
That doesn't matter to me.
It does matter. It does matter to me.
You asked me.
This is interesting considering our
I would
conversation
like to say
yesterday.
a mother figure rather than a woman.
Absolutely not. But I would like to say that you're saying that women, you know, have a higher, you know, have antidepressants, but men, I'm a social worker, so men 1 out of 10 are more likely to experience depression, but more likely to go undiagnosed and not seek therapy or help. So I do think, and women also, you have to consider the fluctuation in hormones, pregnancy, because that can alter, you know, their mental health. So I think that's kind of a moot point, but I feel like, you know, I'm not looking for a mother figure, I'm looking for an equal. So I feel like with, you know, if we're saying that women, you know, they're like going home crying, looking for men, I think it's also that societal pressure that tells you at the same time you have to have multiple women. They're telling the women you have to have that one man, that husband.
I think I agree with what he's saying here, but I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm not crying because I don't have a man. That ain't it.
Certain age, have kids by a certain age. There's more pressure on them than there is.
I'd like a nice husband, but that's not why I'm crying.
Lack of a better term, I think men have gotten off a lot easier because women have so much pressure and they get judged more harshly than men do for talking
That's
about
not true.
back then when men used to go home, bring home the bacon or whatever.
Can you pause for a second?
The domestic.
I think that women don't see how harshly men judge one another. I think he's being very disingenuous. I think that men generally don't judge women as harshly as men judge other men. And
Well, yeah, because they don't think women are as smart.
But no, you didn't. No, that's not what I just said. I said that men judge other men more harshly than men judge women. Like, so in work environments and things like that, men treat women at work totally differently than men treat men at work. I've seen it. I know this. I'm sure most people in the chat can probably agree with this. That when it comes to like work environments, productive things, men are way harder on men than they are on women. Look at your, like, just here's a basic rudimentary example. Men nag women in like Overwatch chat and voice chat and stuff like that. But look at look at the type of rhetoric that men use when they're playing on like a team with other men on the team when they practice compared to how they talk to women about the game. Like men are brutally like incisive toward men. Like you completely effed that up. Like you ruined that part. Like you screwed that up. Why were you over there? You did that wrong. Like men will neg women, but they won't like attack them and be like, you screwed this up and be really, really harsh on them.
I don't know. My experience in Overwatch would beg to differ on that.
Like I said, you got negged a lot. I heard it.
Yeah,
But
you
there's a
heard one
difference.
clip. Like, I'm saying that, like, if we're talking about gaming, online situations, men can be pretty vicious to women.
I guess that's fair since they don't have to put their face in front of it. They can say whatever they want. I guess that's fair. Maybe I should stick to work environments when I say it because that's probably a better example.
I do understand that men size up each other. So in a physical, like, face-to-face situation, a man is gonna size up another man, and you know, like you've told me, like, can you take this guy in a fight versus is this guy a threat to me? Like but that's never a thing when you're face to face with a woman because a woman is never a potential threat to you.
Right, exactly, because that's the pecking order, right?
Yeah.
Like that's nature's pecking order. So we don't think of women like that, which is why we're not as harsh on women. We don't like because we
Unless
don't
it's on the internet.
Yes, because then that's because you've got a bunch of betas like this guy who think that they're like that it's all the same, right? But it's not. You still have that social hierarchy. You still have that genetic hierarchy, and you just can't see it over the internet, so you don't have to act on it. Like I'm sorry. The last thing, a dude talking crap to me on Overwatch could be 5'4" and 150 pounds, but he could talk to me like he's a monster, and it's a challenge. But like if I hear a girl talk to me like that, it's like, well, even if I saw her in the real world, she wouldn't do this to me, right? So that's why men see it.
I mean,
like
I've
that.
tried to stick up for myself to guys in person, and they will just like, I mean, I've seen it. Like, men will just disrespect me to my face when I try to stick up for myself because they started it.
Yeah, I know, and crappy, horrible men do that because and I don't think like this, but I know that the mindset.
And so
of them
men
is
are
like,
mean to women in person as well, but I think more often than not, it's online, and I think that it's a more of a sizing up with other men, and it's more of a like, be in your place to women.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Men know in person a woman can't take them. What are you gonna do? Hit me? Like that's not a good idea for you. So like that, and that's how men think
This is
about
why
it.
I'm pro Second Amendment.
And
It's the
so,
great equalizer.
So then but with other men, you can't just be like, "What are you gonna do? Hit me?" Because then the dude will hit you and it will hurt. And then you're so that's why men are like harsher on each other because you gotta size somebody up. You gotta figure out where they're at. You gotta challenge them to their limit, and then you have that breakdown if you do, and then you hash it out Fight Club style, and then whoever wins, right? That's kind of what the constant sort of like male to male dynamic is that women just aren't a part of.
It was pretty high during that time. And I'll also say that for people of color, we never really had the luxury of working one job. So my parents, their parents before them, everybody always had to work, men and women. So there was always
my mother is not a people of color, and she had to work 4 jobs to be able to raise me alone because I was fatherless. Haha, because my father thought that he should just procreate with lots of women. Okay, so I was fatherless. So my mother, who's not a people of color, had to work multiple jobs. Buddy.
Yeah, me too. Ellie and I are in the same boat because we have the same father.
So it's really ignorant to say it like that.
Yeah, this guy's an idiot.
This guy's ignorant.
Opportunity for them to be able to see that they could do it together as opposed to put that one pressure. And I also would like to ask, if you guys find submissive women more attractive than dominant women, is that because it makes you feel more validated as a man, or is there something there that you feel like feeds into your purpose as a man?
Yeah, well, it's a balance. If I'm a dominant person, I need a submissive. If I meet a dominant woman, we're gonna butt heads.
What if that changes? Like, what if she grows? Because I would love everybody to be able to grow throughout life. What if she starts becoming more dominant? Is that like a?
Are you saying if she starts becoming more dominant in a relationship?
More dominant or equal to your dominant?
Oh yeah, she's gone. She's finished. We're done.
And see, that's my thing. Like, look, I got children. I don't need somebody else to take care of. And I love your thing about, the Prince Charming and everything. But you know what I need? I need a badass woman who can match my badass energy. I work with my wife, and I'm gonna tell you, I take care of her, she takes care of me, and she's badass. And that's what I'm attracted to. I don't need a submissive that I have someone to take care of. And then it's fine, you know, if she goes through that, but then I'll be there and I will take care of her. But I'm not looking for somebody, another child to take care of and have to dominate and tell, you go over there, this is where we're gonna go to dinner.
Well, submissive women aren't children to take care of. That's a little, that ain't it either.
Yeah.
Just because a woman chooses to be a submissive wife doesn't mean that she's a child to take care of.
A partnership is the key here, right? A mutual partnership.
But I do like what he said before that, when he's like, I have kids, I need a badass woman who kind of can take the lead sometimes with the kids. And I appreciate that a lot, because, you know, women, you know, we're biologically predisposed to being able to take care of kids, and that's a badass job. People don't, you know, really don't think about how much work and strife it is to be a mother. So you kind of have to be dominant. You have to have dominant traits to be able to be a good mother, because if you're not a dominant woman when you are a mother, then your children get swept up in trans propaganda.
Yeah, I agree. Women have that very powerful role. Women have the role of shaping the mindset of the children while the man works.
And that's a dominant role.
Over children, yes.
So it's not a bad thing to have a dominant woman in your life as a partner. But that's the thing. I don't think either partner should technically dominate over each other. I think there should be equals, and I think both of them should dominate over separate aspects of their life, depending on their biological proclivities, but not each other.
Well, I think that the frame of this question is kind of unfair, because it's not so much to me that I like dominant or submissive women. I would prefer a woman who does not challenge my masculinity all the time.
Yeah, there's a difference between a woman being submissive and a woman respecting, appreciating, and, you know, enabling a man's masculinity and strengths.
Yep.
We're going to do that. Now, that's why what he was saying, I was going to bring that fact up too. Allow the men to depress, because they put it on this shield of, I have to be the leader. I have to do this.
Hey, Paywin. Welcome in.
Hey, what's up?
Here comes the victim card. Why is the PC term for non-whites so similar to a certain derogatory term in the 50s? Who knows?
Hey, you know who goes to get help first? Women.
Okay, that totally makes sense. I think if we're talking about men not ever dealing with their emotions, it makes sense for this argument that you guys are talking about. But I'm a firm believer. I have gotten a lot of therapy in my life. I've done a lot of things for myself personally to resolve my own internal conflict. Okay, so it's a job of alpha men. The real integrated alpha man has the capacity to understand what he's feeling, why he's feeling the way that he is, articulate in a way that is productive to the dynamic. So a real man is someone that understands himself deeper at an emotional level, has taken the time to do that so he can show up as a rock, not so he can show up more emotionally.
Problem is that if you're super emotional, when we talk about the whole thing of being submissive or dominant, your woman is going to dominate you because you're so emotional.
Emotionally unstable. Let's say that. It's let's stop using emotions.
There's nothing wrong with showing emotions as a man.
She's so emotionally unstable. She's going to dominate you.
It's very important for men to be able to emote, especially to their partner. If a woman is not supportive of a man being emotional with her, then that is a toxic woman.
Yes, if a woman is cutting you down for showing your emotion, then you don't want that anyway. Because emotion is a masculine thing too. Emotion is non-binary.
Yeah.
I'll say, there we go.
Emotion is non-binary.
Like there is no, you can't say that that's a female emotion, that's a male emotion. It's a human emotion.
Yeah, for sure.
And so attacking people and saying that you're not as much of a man because you show emotion is ridiculous. Now, if you let that carry over into, you know, like if a man lets his emotions take control of him to the point to where he's like, you know, whining all the time and always like, you know, complaining about his life, that makes you just generally unattractive. It's not a masculine feminine thing. It's just you're just not attractive if you
if you're like relying on someone else to take care of you all the time, then that's not keeping your own emotions in check, and it's not working on your inner self. So.
Then she's going to lose respect for you, and that's going to teeter the waters of the relationship.
So, I mean, you guys know dominatrix exists for a reason. And by the way, I used to personal train at Dominatrix. You guys are their clients.
Wow.
Not me, cowboy.
I'm being serious. Like, it's a very hidden thing. I used to date them. High positions of power, very alpha. But like, here's the thing. I think you guys put a little bit too much pressure on yourselves. It might be a societal thing. I've dated submissive women before. I find them highly annoying. Sometimes I just want somebody to pick a choice. I like her places. She's got better taste than I do when it comes to that kind of stuff. So please go ahead. We do butt heads once in a while because she is dominant. But does that mean she lost respect or attraction for me? No, not at all. And trust me on that one. So I think it does depend on your energy. You have a very high one, right? Maybe it doesn't mix well with somebody who also has a really high dominant energy. I'm not saying that's wrong because they exist for a reason.
When I think about that, I have dated dominant women before, and when we both have a high energy, it does tend to conflict sometimes. But I also think that's just because I've tried to date Aries. I shouldn't date fire signs. But I do think that if there is someone who has, if both parties have extremely dominant energies, there's going to be some contention in some regards. Like I said, it's okay for both parties to have dominant nature as long as it doesn't dominate over each other. And I feel like in the past, when I've dated other dominant types, I mean, I'm not extremely dominant, but I'm, very energetic. I'm very high energy. I'm very extroverted, that kind of thing. I'm very driven. Capricorn for my zodiac friends out there. So I have a 5-planet Capricorn stellium in my 5th house. So it's a big deal. Anyway, and I'm the goat, right? It's the goat in astrology. So I tend to butt heads with others who match that energy. So if I find someone who also is a dominant person, they have to be dominant in their field. They have to be dominant in what they do, and I can find that attractive. But as long as if we're both trying to dominate the same thing, like the reason why I'm bringing up my ex here is because like we both were dominant women, but we were also dominant in the same field of work, and so I think that's what really caused a lot of like tension. We never really fought over that, but I don't know. It's just a weird thing I just thought about.
Reason submissive people, right?
I just think. Okay.
You wanna respond?
Yeah, I found that all the women that I've dated that were more aggressive were just like, it's like I always turned out that they were like trying to outsmart the smart guy. I think that a lot of dominant quote unquote women date men that are also like a dominant type because they want to try to prove their dominance and like outman the man. And so I've kind of come to the conclusion that when I start seeing a woman acting like that, I'm just staying away from her because I just don't. I'm not interested in spending my life with someone trying to usurp me. You it's my train. You board it or you get off of it, and that's kind of how I've started looking at dating.
Just DM me anytime, Paywin. I'll teach you the ways. Tell me your birthday.
Me, when it's very submissive, I don't find that as sexy. I find that annoying.
But see, and that makes sense. And the reason what happens is the more masculine you are, the more you want the woman to be submissive. The more dominant she is, then the more.
I don't know. I think I'm pretty fucking masculine, dude.
And I'm also trying to think like, have I ever dated like a truly dominant man? My ex-husband was fairly submissive. My ex-boyfriends have all been fairly submissive, I think. Been fairly beta. I'm really trying to think about it.
Well, you think about the types of guys you've been attracted to.
The only like alpha, the only alpha types that I've dated, I didn't date long because they cheated.
I mean, but you're also not going to find an alpha male, quote unquote, dominant male, and men that look like they're trying to accentuate their feminine characteristics. Like that doesn't happen. Like you don't.
Well, that's not true. There was one guy, like I said, he's the toxic alpha, and he ended up cheating, and he was very masculine looking.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that in terms of the aesthetic that you tend to like in men, is you like guys that have a feminine look. You like more feminine looks in men, and you're not going to find.
Which is why I just said what I just said contradicts that point because you didn't know that guy that I dated that one time.
Yeah, I that's fine. I know.
You haven't seen him. I'm a Leo, which is obviously the best sign. Honestly, I do love Leos. They are ruled by the strength card in the tarot. Leos are wonderful. Cancer. Cancer is my sister sign. Sister signs are when they're on the opposite side of the spectrum and they're like complementary to each other. So I'm a cardinal earth sign and you're a cardinal water sign. And so that makes us sister signs because we're both the same kind of sign, cardinal, but we're also complementary elements, earth and water. That's beautiful. I love that.
And I don't want somebody that's miserable.
I'm saying that in that moment you're in your.
Oh my God, Scorpio moon. I'm so sorry.
Feminine, but go ahead.
If you and your wife have like a conversation about a disagreement, and then you guys like a healthy conversation, and then she ends up being right in the situation, would you consider her dominating me?
No, I consider her right.
So, what's your definition of like dominant? Like you always have to be right? And
No, it's not about right and wrong. It's about who's running the show.
So by her being right, is that not her running?
No, that's just her being right in that conversation.
Yeah, a good leader would allow someone else to be right. A good leader doesn't have to be right. He wants the team to win. In fact, I'd call a man insecure if he wouldn't allow a woman to be right on the subject she was clearly.
I like that.
I do like that. And, you know, it goes back to the question of, like, what do you find more attractive?
Yeah.
That's what we're talking
I
about.
always
Like,
defer to
preference
you
is-
about certain
what's the
things. You know
It's a
that.
preference. One of the things
Yeah,
you
that's
like-
true. It's good to go to your female or male counterpart to help each other.
Yep, I always defer to Ellie in things I don't know about. Always, because I trust her. I would never sit there and try to argue about something out. Now, if I do know something, I'll argue with her about it. but if I don't know something, I'll happily like when I do my video course, Ellie's gonna handle a ton of stuff that I'm just clueless about. And I have no problem deferring to Ellie. I don't care if it's a girl or a guy. It doesn't matter. I respect expertise, and when someone's more of an expert in something than me, I will gladly say, I don't know what I'm doing. Please take over. No problem.
Yeah, which is why I'm so thankful that I have a brother in my life because, you know, being a brother and sister, we have both of the female and male perspectives for each other. Plus, we're pretty similar in age, so we can help each other in the ways that, you know, we might be a little bit weaker. And it's not because men are weaker. It's not because women are weaker. I use the term weaker in the way of like, you know, our proclivities, our biological proclivities. Of course, there are anomalies where like, you know, for example, some women are really good at building and really good at math, and those are awesome and, you know, amazing. That's fantastic. And there are some men that are, I don't know, really good at stereotypically feminine things, and that's totally okay. But in the ways that we're not naturally, you know, good at, the other usually is, and that's why men and women need to work together. And I think the family unit is very important. So, you know, if you don't have a brother or a sister that gives you that other perspective, you know, it's good to have a partner that can.
Said is like when you and your partner or girlfriend get into something and it's like a little heated, like I get off on that.
Me, I totally don't get off on that. Like I don't need any back talk. I don't need any lip. I don't need any attitude. It's my way or the highway. Like I don't want none of it.
Do you think he hits women?
Well, I understand. So all right.
Whenever a guy says I don't take any lip, I'm going to be sussy.
The way, okay, so let me interpret that in the way, because I would say that in a much softer way. When I know what I'm doing and I know what I'm talking about, please stay out of my way. All your as in one's, you know, like resistance or like calling out, like, oh, don't do this different. No, I know what I'm doing. Leave me alone. I don't care if you're a guy or a girl. Stay out of it. I know what I'm doing. I would say, like, I don't need any lip, right? Like, I wouldn't say that specifically, but that's the idea. Like, when I've got things how they need to be, and I know what I'm doing, stay out of my way, because all you're going to do is hinder this. That's how I take what he's saying. Now, I also, you know, like the way he sees women is kind of disgusting.
Yeah, I don't like the way this guy sees women at all. Like, I mean, I'm not just saying like, you know, asking like if you think he slaps women a little bit and in that kind of way. I'm wondering if it's in other ways of their life too. Hard to say.
Yeah.
Well, have a conversation in the first place about the disagreement.
You're not having
No.
So you just want to be challenged. You want to be challenged. That's okay. Like no back talk. I'm right.
That's a different thing. If we're talking about a topic and she's right about the topic, that's just how us talking about the topic.
Like an opinion of yours or things that you
No, I'm talking about
disagrees with.
If you're making an opinion, you're saying you want no back.
No. I'm not talking about opinions. I'm talking about decisions. So
Yeah,
we can have a
see,
conversation about a
I
topic.
agree.
But when it comes to a decision, The final decision is mine.
Let me change my word. If we were to have a healthy discussion about a decision,
Why is the final decision his, though?
She says, I just.
Well, no,
Right, she
pause,
said
pause,
so.
pause. And I relate to this in that, like, so for example, I don't like it when, like, voice students, for example, I don't have any right now to do this, but in the past when I've had voice students who come to me for help and I give them answers and they want to tell me that I'm not telling them the right thing, then leave. Right? I don't have time for this. Like, I'm not here for you to, like, I'm either going to teach you or not. You can feel free to ask me questions, but don't sit here and try to tell me that I'm wrong when you're the one hiring me to teach you.
The only way that I can see that is like if one of the partners, if the man was, if it had already been agreed that the man was making the final decision, and so he tried to make the decision, and then the woman comes in and is like, actually no, do it this way. Then I can see like, no, like the decision, I'm making the final one because it was already agreed upon, or like, you know, say vice versa. Like let's say a man said that the woman can be the one who buys the car, gets the next car. And so she picks out this really nice car that is really good for her and the family and to take her kids to school or whatever. And then like out of nowhere, the guy swoops in and is like, no, I'm making the final decision. We're getting this, you know, sports car. Like that would be a crappy thing to do. And it would just be equally as crappy for, you know, let's say a woman says, look, I'm, I don't know, some big decision that you need to make, you know, sign on a house, whatever, and then he's about to sign on the house and she comes in and she's like, actually no, I want this other one. Like that would be crappy to do, and I don't support that. But I don't think that, you know, obviously I don't think that the man should make every major decision in the life of the partners.
Well, so like, all right, so let's say that I have a girlfriend, okay, and she knows that I'm working on this video course, and I've already got the whole outline done. This girl has no background vocals whatsoever, but I'm telling her, I'm doing this
she
way.
shouldn't make the decisions for that, obviously.
But then I make decisions, and she goes, well, no, I don't like you doing it that way. Why don't you do it this way?
Yeah, obviously that's wrong.
Right, well, I think that's what he's talking about. I think he's saying, like, if I'm in a position where I have, it's my choice, and I know what needs to be done, I don't want someone interfering with me. I think he's saying it in a horrible way, but I think that's what he's saying, because I'm the same way. If I'm an authority over something, or if I'm supposed to get something done, and I'm the one that's the decision maker, let me do it. Get out of my way, let me do it. Like that, and that's I'm the same way in that sense, but it's not because I disrespect women. I don't care who you are. It doesn't matter. Like, if I'm in charge of something, and I'm trying to get something done, and you aren't in this position, or you don't have an equal level of say, or knowledge, or authority on the subject as me, stay out of my way. You're just going to get in the way. I feel the same way in that sense.
Say, hey, she wants to do A, B, and C. And I say, no, I want to do D, E, and F, right? We're doing D, E, and F.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. That's what I thought he was saying. Like, this guy is just the worst.
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. That's where I thought he was going with this, and you were giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. That's horrible.
Yeah, he's awful.
Now I will listen to what she says, and if I think A, B, and C sounds better, then I say, okay, yeah, let's do A, B, and C, because
that sounds bad talk in the first place.
No, that's
even entertain the conversation.
No, that's what I'm saying. If we're having a conversation, that's cool. I'm saying the final decision though is mine. So
you can make a suggestion as a woman, but I'm still gonna be the one who makes it. Like, I don't know, man.
I disagree.
Yeah, instead of he even like twists it around. Like, even if he uses her example, like he says ABC. Let's say, you know, she wants to go to Applebee's and he wants to go to McDonald's, and then she says, well, no, I want to go to Applebee's. He's still trying to frame it as oh, okay, it's my decision to go to Applebee's.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all.
Delusional. Sounds like when commenters complain in droves when Zach calls out Glottal on sets.
Hey, who are you? You know my content. Who are you?
Chaos Bird.
Who are you? You know when I talk about Glottal on sets. You must know my content. Who are you?
Speak your mind, but at the end of the day, I'm making the final decision.
So it's like, I'm gonna let you talk.
Yeah, let you talk. Yes.
In the end, I don't really care. I'm gonna do what I want.
I said I care.
I do want to touch upon the
one more thing with like let's clarify submissive. Let's not get that mistaken between incompetent. Like, submissive does not mean incompetent, and I think you might have been talking about women that could be incompetent, where they don't have the capacity to take care of themselves at all or make any type of decision. So I think there's definitely a difference in how she shows up in the relationship compared to being able to make decisions in her everyday life.
Sure, but he doesn't want them to make decisions.
No, I didn't say I didn't want them to make decisions.
I'll say this.
No, your decision's the final, no matter what.
Some of the strongest women in the world right now are sitting in submissive roles because they're strong enough to think for themselves and do what they feel good in their heart. Because there are women that do want to be submissive naturally. And some of those women are the strongest women in the world right now, especially when the world's telling them to go be something that they don't want to be.
I do agree that honestly it is a choice, it's a preference. You know, we shouldn't speak upon like everybody. Obviously, like it's always a gray area. It's a range. It's not one side or the other. And if you guys want to be in a relationship where the woman is submissive and the woman also wants to be in a relationship where the male is dominant, that's completely fine. But the thing I want to talk about more is the fact that like you guys keep saying that like this is what women want, or that like all women want this. Who are we to decide what women want? Because first of all, we're not women. And second, just because of our personal experiences in our lifetime about the people we've interacted with, I feel like that's something we need to take a step back from and clarify.
And a beta that actually says men can't be women.
Like, no, this is just my personal opinion. In the end, we don't know what women want. Woman knows what they want, not men.
I have yet to see a relationship because I would say a relationship dynamic that is optimal has deep connection where you could say there's a deep friendship there, but also there's sexual polarity. And I've seen dynamics where there is a great friendship there and there is connection and they do live very cohesively. But when the woman is more dominant, the majority of the time, I've yet to see a dynamic where consistently over time, there is strong sexual polarity on her end in a dynamic.
And that's fine. Like if that's what you see.
I think that women do naturally, biologically have a proclivity to be more submissive to the man in the relationship, but like, you know, a society making women be, you know, man hating and all that. I think that the term submissive is so cringe, but like it's more like women want to be vulnerable with the man in their lives because they want to trust them wholeheartedly to like not procreate with multiple women. They want to trust them to, you know, be committed to them and protect them and take care of them. Like I do believe like, you know, I'm traditional in this regard, but I do think that, you know, men are supposed to be protectors and providers. And so therefore women are to be protected and then do the roles that, you know, men don't do in the home because that's just fair. It's fairness. That's a preference, but I do think there's some biological proclivities to it and there's nothing wrong with that. But like I said, the term submissive is so cringe when really like women want to feel emotionally safe and protected more than anything. It's not that they want to be submissive. It's that I think they want to be emotionally protected.
Seen in your lifetime, that's completely fine. Like, but then that's
biology says that. I don't think it's just my personal opinion. I don't think, but like
probably you just surround yourself with.
Yeah, that's just saying. It's like just because you've grown up in a certain area where like people are like that, because like I could say the same thing, but on the other side, where I've seen plenty of people and plenty of relationships where like that wasn't the case, but then they're like sexually fine, you know, that they're perfectly fine, their polarity is completely fine, and they're happy. And I could say the same thing. I could keep going at you saying that, like, oh, because of what I've seen or what I've experienced, dominant men, it won't work. But then that's dumb because there are cases where dominant men do work, but there's also cases where it doesn't.
No, it's all
when they're happy, they're probably not going out saying, "I'm so happy, I'm dominant, and I'm a woman." They're not going around saying that. You know, like, they're just happy. They stick to themselves most of the time when they're that happy.
All right. I am great at sex.
Oh, come on, man.
I mean, I have a lot to learn.
So what are we discussing?
Wow, the one guy.
right now.
Bro, this was a chance to redeem yourself.
No, I know, but it's just.
All right. Actually, I'm gonna go back.
I'm gonna
my
sit this one
partner,
out.
my wife, I'm able to not only connect physically, but also emotionally, you know, and I think that's the biggest trick I've learned. Not trick, but the thing I've learned about my years
Someone walks
being with
back.
my partner. You have to sort of,
You know, in that moment, he had a moment where he was like, "Oh wait, that one time. Better walk back."
I'm gonna get called out on social.
Exactly, I'm gonna get called out on social media for that one time with that one girl. Better walk back here.
you know, keep the spice going.
I would say, you know, I think the fact that we have a woman who keeps coming back or who keeps wanting it, I think that, you know, that's a sign that she thinks you're great at sex. You know what I mean? Because she actively wants to keep it going and keep it going in that direction. I will say though, I'm better at sex with women I care about. Yeah, you know, so I think, and me being a player and a guy who goes out and talks to a lot of different women.
Self-referential player, by the way.
I know, right? I have so many women. They all come back to me.
Yeah.
I need more women because they all come back to me.
You had a return to Jesus moment. It's cringe to boast about something like this, just like labeling yourself an alpha in general. Yeah, exactly.
This whole thing is
with
cringe.
my girlfriend or
it is cringe.
Like my wife or whatever like that. Sex would be great. With the other girls, it can still be good, but I know that I don't really put in that much effort because it's almost like I'm masturbating with someone.
And eventually, you know,
wow. But girls, if you're watching this, if you've ever hooked up with this man, stop it. Learn from this.
Stop hooking up, period, because this is what men think when you hook up. This is what you're going to get on Tinder.
This is hookup culture. They don't respect you. They literally think that they are just pleasing themselves in your presence. Like, that is what they think about you.
Get
Ladies.
off of Tinder.
Ladies, stop it, please. I'm begging you here.
You know your partner's like comfortability, what they like, what they don't like, and things, and that's how you make sex a lot better.
I feel dumber having heard that.
Plus you love them.
Right.
Like, so you knew if you were going to die today and you could have sex
People
with
love
one
the
person before
cringe.
you die, it would be that person. Like, no matter what. Like, you could have every supermodel, every movie star, everything. Like, fuck all that. Like, I want that person.
Focus so much on like what they like as well, you know, like you're kind of there to like pleasure them, you know, because you care about them so much.
Right.
Which is why like you would hyperfixate on like what do they like, what they don't like, and you can easily like adjust yourself and put in effort for that person.
And like, for instance, it's so true that you said that because my wife and I, we have this thing we call the love menu. Okay, no, we invented the love menu. We invented the love menu because we have 3 children, and they're only 2 years apart. They're in the mid-20s now, but you know, think about it: 2, 4, 6 at home, and I'm working, and she's doing her thing. So we found that in our young relationship, sometimes the other person might be tired and like but that's hurt feelings. That makes you kind of do this type of thing. So what we did is we come up with a love menu of like, here's the appetizers. I might not be ready for the full course tonight, but here's your appetizer because I know you like this. Or here is your dessert, or here's your main course meal. And we broke it into those things. So when we do come to each other and we need that connection, it's not just like, I'm tired, I don't feel like it. It's kind of like, well, what's going to happen? We got
My love menu is salmon sashimi and a mojito right to my door. Thank you. Done.
Full course meal tonight, or we're just gonna have some appetizers, and that's kept it spicy for us. And also, like what you say, making sure
This is so
we're pleasuring
cringe.
each other. It's not just wham bam, thank you, ma'am, I need to get my rocks off, but like, you know, how are you feeling about that, and how are you feeling about that? Because when you're in a long-term committed relationship, you have to do that, or it dies.
Right. And I love that. I love that you talk about the amount of intention that you live with in regard to making sure that you're always evolving with it, always making sure that it's spicy. You just care.
Like,
I think if you have a
man.
genuine care for the other person.
I mean, I guess I can't really have a real critique because like I don't know how hard it is to keep a healthy, intimate relationship with a partner around children, like while you have kids. You know, I don't know the struggles of that. So I mean, I'm trying not to judge him too hard for his cringe thing, his love menu thing. It's fairly cringe, but I think that most couples get along just fine by just like, you know, feeling out each situation and I don't know. What if one of them is in the mood for Chinese takeout? The horror. Oh man. Oh man.
That you're involved with, then
I don't know what
maybe
this
not
guy
great right then and
possibly
there,
could be
but
doing.
It will eventually develop into being something that way.
He
So I love that
probably-
care that you demonstrate with that.
I'm interested in what you had to say. You've been
Life
very quiet
coach.
on this
A
one.
life coach.
All he said was, look at the seats, you know, he knows it.
And look, and that's a very important thing, right? Is so I think that as a man, I hate to say, actually I don't hate to say, that you should come in confidently. And I do find by and largely, it's kind of like you could have the alpha beta argument. I do that thinking coming in kind of in a dominant way. There's a reason 50 Shades of Grey is so popular.
Oh my
Read
god.
book of all time. There's a reason there's detail in it. And I think you can say so much to a woman in sex without saying a word. You know what I'm saying? It's about how you touch her, how you have your hands on her the way you take over her in that.
All right.
Oh my God, I can't.
So 50 Shades of Grey is part of the downfall of society, and the women who read that crap are part of the problem. They are broken women, and men like him who are trying to enable that behavior are enabling the broken women of society to continue to be broken, because that is not loving. It's that kind of relationship is not loving or supportive in any real way.
I can't do this. I can't do
that
this.
way. And that's okay. Just knowing and seeing that expression.
I've
and
never
seeing
seen the
things that
movie or read
happen,
the book.
and as a result of
Horrible.
that is enough for me to know where I stand on the subject.
The only thing I disagree with you about is I agree with that energy, that take control energy. And I think one woman does love that. But sometimes my wife likes to take control, and I love it.
Well, get up there, girl. Get up there, girl, and do what you got to do. I'll put my hands behind my head.
God, I
Don't
can't.
worry.
I can't. I'm leaving. I
Yeah,
can't.
but by and large,
Yeah.
yes. And then when she wants to, but even when you're on bottom, man, you still doing work, bro. It's all about dancing, bro.
I don't want to get negative. I have
got
sex
to be
tattooed on my
kidding me.
chest.
What?
Oh my God!
Bro, it wouldn't take much. Half of it's out,
It's right here on my rib.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. It's like a old one.
my
It's not even
Lord.
like a-
I think the biggest thing I've
You
ever
know,
heard
that
from a
reminds me, yesterday I'm getting e-girls in my recommended feed. I don't know why, but I got this e-girl, and she literally had a tattoo on her pelvic region that says blessed, BLESSED. And that just reminded me of it. This guy obviously has mental issues, right? Like he was trying to say that he felt pressured into sleeping with multiple women at the beginning of this because people were calling him weird for not wanting to. So he literally got it tattooed on his rib cage. Like, what? What?
Oh man.
sexual partners is like, wow, you really caught me off guard. And I think that's like a big part of it.
This guy is gonna counterculture himself to the grave, dude. That's it, I'm done.
Argument with myself.
Tell us why you're terrible at sex. You missed it. He stripped.
No, I did see that. I saw it. I disagreed because I just feel like it's such a typical conversation and belief that every guy believes they're great at sex. And to be real, when I talk to my girlfriends, none of them have good sex with guys unless it's, like you guys said, your partner. Then you can get better at it.
If your
right?
girlfriend is telling you, I've never had good sex with a guy, and she's dating you, and you're a guy.
I know. There's a little bit of a hint there.
Yeah,
I think they're giving you a clue.
That is a clue, buddy. But he knows. Apparently he took the hint because he didn't go sit down with the rest of them.
And you know what they like. So that's what I mean. Like, I think I'm great with my girlfriend, but if I was to generate and say, like, I'm great at sex, I'd be like, no, I didn't, almost every girl I slept with before probably never even got off, really. But to say, like, I'm great at sex.
Wow. I mean, wow. There's a lot to unpack there, you guys.
I can bring a dildo in, like, it's just like, I mean, I'm nothing against that. Like, I like all kinds of things.
I didn't mention a dildo.
Why'd you look at me like
I was wondering why you said it.
No, I'm just saying that, like.
How intoxicated was he when he was asking for that?
No, I'm kidding. I didn't mean that. But it's like, I just
Very.
feel like, there's a lot for me to learn even now with my partner. And I just, like, to say I'm great, I don't say that to myself because I think that blocks me from something that I might not be good at, actually.
No, I agree. I completely agree with the aspect that, like, honestly, there's always room for growth, like, going around.
The fact of the matter is, you are not going to be like the best ever for every partner at the beginning. Like what is amazing about monogamy is that you get to learn your partner and you guys get to grow together, and it gets to be amazing because there's an emotional connection there. Like you're not gonna completely understand anyone's body if you just meet them, if you're just hooking up and doing one night stands. Like there's no way that you're going to know how their body works. It's just ridiculous to think that way. And I mean, I think a lot of girls are kind of like propagandized into the pressure of faking it with men a lot. And I wouldn't be surprised if girls faked it with a lot of these alphas. But, you know, they bought them a car, so it was worth it to them. That's why they're bringing out other things to help.
Honestly, thinking that you're like the best is not something that I agree with, but more so that like, especially with someone that, you know, like a partner, like that you actually want to give the effort into. You learn, you know, like it doesn't always have to go like.
I've never seen that chord.
You know, you pick up things like everyone's different.
Sounds
you know,
yikes.
Man and woman. So like, honestly, like it's.
But that's what when that question says I'm great at sex, like that to me tells me you could line up 10 girls and 9 out of 10
would fake
know
it.
exactly what to do.
Sometimes it's just like a confidence thing. Like I am confident that I can achieve good sex.
Exactly right. That's what I'm saying. Because the thing is, I look at it like, because you're saying, well, being the best, you know, you can't really say being the best, but I disagree. I look at it as I am the best, but I'm choosing to be great with this person. And so what I'm saying is I can be really great with this one other girl, but I choose not to. And I do that purposely. And the reason why I do it purposely is because, like I was saying earlier when we talk about friends with girls and all that other stuff, is that women have to earn good dick. That's how I look at it. You understand what I'm saying? So
What?
If I'm with a woman,
My God.
Oh no. Oh no. 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 That's just.
I'm just keeping my mouth shut.
I just met you at the bar and we're just hooking up. I'll give you some, like I should say women should earn great, but I'll give her some good, but it ain't gonna be great because you haven't earned it. You're not my girl. You haven't done anything.
You're not gonna go the extra mile for her.
Right? Exactly. I'm not gonna go the extra mile for a new girl.
Women, please stop hooking up with guys at the bar. Stop it. Stop it.
Hey, I've been saying this for years. Can't find clean water in the sewers.
Women, I hope this gets 30 million views for this part alone. So women will finally get it through their head that hookup culture is not meant to empower them. It's not meant to help them be a strong, independent woman. It is literally meant for crappy men to take advantage of them and then brag about it.
And then say she wasn't even that good. I didn't even care about her anyway because she didn't earn it.
Yeah. Ladies, stop it.
Can't find clean water in the sewers. Repeat after me. You
Obviously,
can't find
like,
clean water in the sewers.
And the women are gonna be in my comments like, this is men's fault, obviously. Why are you trying to shame women for this? Look at, these are all men. And like, obviously this man is a problem. Like, where in this video have I stuck up for this guy? This guy is the worst. But the women that are choosing to be with him are also the worst. Period.
I agreed with the I agree with the mentality, but then not the statement.
Right, I'm just not gonna do all that for a new girl. I'm not gonna do that. So what I'm saying is that the greatness comes from within you to know that you can, but you have to make the decision to do that. And I think most guys, if they care about a woman, they'll
people actually
do that
exist
because that woman, in some form or fashion, has earned that type of energy from him. And that's how I look at it.
It's like, I completely agree, but I just want to change the word earn to something else. Something similar, but that means a little different. Because like,
can we change the semantics? The words are violence, you guys. Let's not say it like it is, because then women won't sleep with me. So stop saying it like it is. Yeah. Can we rephrase this so it sounds a little better, so I can continue to do this crappy behavior? Thank you.
like you don't want to give as much effort to like other people that you don't really you see like long term with, but then like obviously.
How about you don't give effort to people that you don't connect with and actually care about them? Like what? Like the.
If it's like a partner or someone that you can see a future with, you know that you can keep, you know, improving. You can be like the best, you know.
And I'm not even necessarily saying like I'm a liberal, right? I'm bleeding heart liberal. So like at the end of the day, I don't expect everyone to be like, oh, the next person I date, I'm going to be with them forever. And so I'm going to give them my all. Like I don't expect that, of course. But like you need to be selective of who you sleep with, who you're intimate with. Like you should at least make sure that it's exclusive. You should at least have some sort of emotional connection with them first. And because it's honestly a safety hazard physically as well as mentally. It's a safety hazard in both regards. That's why it's important to not just like sleep around with whoever will let you, and have established some kind of connection first.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'll make a statement and say and I'll challenge any one of these guys on this stage. You are incapable of being a good partner in that way if you're promiscuous.
Yeah.
You are not capable of it.
For that person.
Who thinks that great sex is more mental or more physical? Which one would you raise your hand?
Well, which one? Say
Okay.
say one of them.
Who thinks that great sex is more mental?
I mean, I think it's more mental.
Okay. Okay. Who thinks great sex is more physical?
The reason why I sat down and then I stepped back is because stepping down.
Because I'm a disappointment.
Kind of like that societal pressure of, you know, we all agree like men have to be really great at sex. And I had to check myself out of my ego and take a step back, because it can't be 9 out of 10. It has to be 10 out of 10. I know I've had, you know, one night stands, and I can't account for every single partner that I've had if they had a great experience or not. I could just be honest with myself and say I did my best, but you know, for whoever is going to be my partner next, you have to have that like that sense of like.
And that's kind of I don't hate that idea. Like at least he did his best, but like one night stands are bad.
It's so simple. Like this whole solution, this whole issue is so simple. Stop sleeping around.
Yeah.
It's that simple. If you focus on a partner and a relationship, you will get better. It's an old Jeff Foxworthy joke where he was like, well, if there's anything to suck at, I guess this could be worse. I guess it could be worse, you know? Like, the idea is, like, have one and focus on being good with that one. And then it won't matter. Because if you are comfortable enough with someone and you trust someone enough, they can tell you and communicate with you. And it could get better because you will both have a better mutual understanding of what makes it work for both of you. But if you go around fucking around with everybody, then you're never going to establish that kind of connection with anyone. And so you will never feel confident about it at all. It's that simple. Done. And that's all I got to say about it.
Like open-mindedness in a way, because what they might think they want from you to make you great, you might not agree with even trying. You know, I get what you're saying about women having to earn great, but I feel like at the same time,
why is it so funny coming out of your mouth?
I feel like
because it's stupid. Because it's a stupid thing to say.
You know, women's needs are a lot different than men's in bed. So what might be, you know, easy for you, like a quick 1-2, they're expecting, you know, maybe more foreplay or more physical intimacy, or, you know, and with the whole like BDSM with like 50 Shades of Grey, I think that appeal to like a certain subset of women and their fantasies, but I don't think that accounts for all women.
I think it's
for sure. And I do not like, because this has happened to me, I don't like when men think just because I am a woman, I want that kind of thing. Like I've had guys literally like the first time, well, not the first time we kissed, but like one, like backtrack. I've had guys at a very early in the relationship, let's say, that we're just kissing and he went to grab my neck and I was like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, you don't like that? And I'm like, no, I don't like that. What's wrong with you? And he's like, well, all girls I've been with like that. And I'm like, some girls are lying.
Yeah.
It was insanity.
I think if you put most women, like, really say, do you want that? They'd be like,
Exactly. Thanks, man.
And he said, no, they really want it.
Not be in position of
They
power.
don't really want it. They don't. Women don't really want that. If a woman really wants that,
Just like
that
the
is not a
says,
healthy woman.
Only one. I think
Period.
a woman can be in a position of power only by herself, but not in relation to being in a relationship with a man. Because when she's in a relationship with a man, the man has to be the leader. The man has to be the one that's guiding the situation, directing the situation. If it's in any other situation by herself with work, you know, with her friends or whatever, she can do whatever she wants to do.
I have a more nuanced take on this.
Game over.
Hey, go ahead.
I think that it is both men and women. No, I think people should not be in positions of power that they don't have relative expertise in. So, like, for example, I don't think it's a good, and I'm being a little bit generalized here, so forgive me up front. I know I would much more easily see a woman being a principal of a daycare than a man. Okay? I also would much more easily see a man as a president or the owner or leader of a construction company than a woman. Not to say that they can't be there, but if you're in a position of authority or power, it makes sense that you would have the skill set and the knowledge that is appropriate for whatever the field is. And if there are fields that are more male or female skewed, it's more likely that you're going to have that sex in a position of power there and less likely to have the other. So I think that it is completely dependent upon the role, what type of job, what type of position we're even talking about.
This brings me back to something they said before, where like, oh well, the submissive women are the ones that are in power right now. I disagree with that. With the example of that one lady is it the president of Italy?
Yeah.
Right now, like she doesn't seem like a submissive woman to me.
Yeah, she's respectable too, though. The way that she talks, the way she thinks, very, very leader-like and very respectful. I think women can be in positions.
Yeah, women can be, but I don't think that I don't think that all women are cut out to be in that kind of position. I think it takes a very specific kind of woman too, ironically, at a dominant woman.
Some of my best bosses that I've had in my life have been women, and the worst bosses I've had have been men.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, you know, I think that that's way too generalized of a position to take about any of this.
Yeah.
Game is over.
I first want to ask, because there was a lot of like has to, have tos, but like not really a reason behind it. Like, can I ask, like, what's your reason behind like why a man has to be in the power, like in power? Why can't a woman be in power?
Power is such a weird word. I would say more like the leadership role. And the thing is that a man has to lead a woman. He has to guide a woman, because what happens is that when it's the opposite, when a woman is leading that man, she usually loses respect for him. When she's in a relationship with a man who is, you know, under her, who's submissive to her in a lot of different situations, then she starts to lose respect for him because she's looking for a man to lead and guide her. If you notice, they have sex with the bad boys, but then the nice guys get tossed to the side. You see, like, why is that?
Well, if you look at them psychologically, they have past traumas and issues probably. But like, look, there's women for you, right? I mean, like, you're on a different scale. What I would say, some women want a guy like you because they don't want to do anything, right? They don't want to take that position. I'm around a lot of women who don't want that. They're in positions of power, not just in work, career, at home. I know a lot of them. I do business. I find women much more pleasant to do business with. But when you're talking about maybe being
That's
at
because
home,
men are harsher on
I
men
don't know.
than they
It's
are
just like,
women.
I think when you get into your part, your end of the pond, it can get a little bit mucky. You know what I mean? And I don't really subscribe to that as well.
I heard you say you were from New York. I lived in Manhattan for 30 years as a fashion designer in the heart of Manhattan. She was working as a fashion editor. I held it down with the 3 kids. I was the one bringing the money home. I was the one doing that. After my son, my youngest, went back to school, she went back to work. I always wanted to have my own collection. She was like, you should do that now. So guess what? She had the job. She paid the bills while I was building my company. So I could be strong in our relationship and be a man in our relationship, but I also got to know what it means to have a partner next to me, and not someone that I have to lead.
Well, I think it's really, really important to specify what leading means. And so right now we're talking about, you talked about, okay, we do the chores. Sometimes she pays more, sometimes I pay more. I think it's looking at a really superficial level. I think what you look at in a relationship, when you look at leadership and the one that is following per se, is who's the one holding down the emotional space? Like, who has the capacity to show up as the rock the majority of the time in a dynamic? And if that is the woman, I believe, for the most part, the polarity gets thrown off, and there will be a deficiency in the sexual attraction that she'll have for you. If you are more excessively emotional and unstable than your wife, I do believe that's going to lead to issues in the relationship.
A man's job is to be the mountain that a woman's emotional.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if
like straight.
if either person is just emotionally unstable for, you know, a long period of time, obviously that's going to cause issues. It seems like a obvious statement.
I actually, the sentence that he just said that you kind of paused at, I think that he said something that might be somewhat true. He said, men are the mountain that the women's emotional waves crash into. And I don't 100% agree with the way he worded it, but I don't disagree with the concept either. I think that women need an emotional rock in their lives to help them feel more stable too, when they because women are more volatile because of estrogen, right? When we know this, like estrogen causes emotional volatility just by its production.
Which is why we shouldn't be giving estrogen to teenagers, the little boys. Don't give estrogen to little boys.
Yeah, so like men need to be strong and resilient through that, but women also have to, I think women also have to understand when their emotional volatility becomes too much. Like, you know, and so, but this dude's an idiot, but every now and then he has a grain of truth in the things that he does, like a grain of truth in
I think
sand pile of crap.
I think that women do rely on their male partners to be the ones who are emotionally calm and rational and sturdy in a time of chaos. Like when a woman is experiencing, you know, chaotic trauma or anything emotional, then they look to their male partner for some sort of stability, and that's important for sure.
Yep. And that's why you've got to be a resolved and strong man, irrespective and independent of women, so that way you can withstand it. And it's just again, it's a biological thing.
Yeah, and a lot of men these days are not emotionally secure themselves.
Yep.
And so how are they going to be good mates to women?
Well, they're being emasculated by a culture. They're not getting the dopamine that they feel from doing masculine things because they're being shamed for it.
Which is why we're propagandizing women to just be the man. Just don't have any emotions. Just sleep around. Just don't think about what you're doing.
Yep.
Do now, think later.
We're robbing men of the fulfillment that they feel from being strong and stable and masculine, and that's ruining society.
So women are always going to be more emotional than men. Men should be the stable ones. Men don't need to be crying in front of women. And ideally, they're not splitting chores. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I think that if a woman cannot look up to you in some way, then she cannot respect you. And if she cannot respect you, she cannot love you.
I totally disagree with that. Totally.
I mean, I think that you obviously need to respect your partner or you're not going to love them. I don't think that's a woman to a man thing. I think that's just a partner thing. If you don't respect them, you're not going to love them.
I think that what did he say? He said that he said that I don't think that when you should cry in front of a woman. I think that's crap. I don't think you should walk around weeping because women are going to think that you're just a beta. You know, they're going to think like this guy can't keep himself together. He can't be that stable rock. But I think that women who are close to you and who do respect you and do look up to you and do see you as an emotional rock would see a signal of you crying as like, wow, I need to be there for this man.
Yeah.
Like, I could support him too.
And that lets them kind of tap into their nurturing proclivities, and that makes them happy.
Yes. I think that it is okay to express yourself like that in front of the women that you're close to. And I don't just mean,
women like to listen.
Partners. I mean, like, you know, Ellie's seen me cry before, you know?
Yeah,
like,
family, friends. It's great.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with crying in front of women that respect you, and that I think he's wrong about that. I think he's flat out wrong.
So, and the only reason I didn't come sit down is because I have some really, really good women in leadership roles in my businesses, and they are absolute leaders. Now, they might lead under me, but I think they stand alone as leaders, and I respect them enough that I would never come sit down over that particular statement because it's too vague. But in the relationship, yes, sir, I do agree that a man should be the leader. He should be the breadwinner, and he should be the one solving all the problems out in the world and emotionally.
This guy gets his chest waxed.
He's so right. He's so.
Say for work, it's fine. But when it comes to our relationship,
he is so split between being right and wrong. It's ridiculous. Like it's like Andrew Tate, right? He points out some real problems, but has the completely wrong solutions. Like, it's just his salve for the issues is absolutely flawed. It's insane how flawed his solutions are for the accurate things he points out.
I got to be the one to wear the pants, and okay, let's not say pants. We'll use the person's words. I got to be the mountain that her emotions crash into. I hate to tell you guys, we can be very emotional too, and I know there's a lot of guys in my 55 years that are way emotional than some of these women out here now that are taking charge. So I think that's
I agree with you. I agree with you. They are, but if you notice,
and I don't think it hurts the relationship either.
And if you notice, isn't it weird that nowadays they're talking about all these single, sexless men and all these guys having issues? Why do you think that is?
They're becoming more emotional than ever.
Exactly.
I think women are putting up with less bullcrap.
No, they are.
No.
They're not putting up.
I am not a sexless single guy.
I'm just bad at it.
No, I'm just saying this. But
No one said you were.
my girlfriend is an emotional rock for me.
And that's a good thing.
I'm sorry, but I gotta strongly disagree with everything you say. I'm also a breadwinner right now. It wasn't always like that though. She's going through a time and she wants to actually do something for herself, and I totally support that. But when it comes to an emotional, whatever you just said, that analogy, look, I mean, I think that's the problem also with a lot of toxicity that goes on, because a lot of men have emotions, you don't know how to express it, and then it turns into this opposite toxicity.
That's
How do I know
self-work.
this? I used to be one of them.
Me too.
But like it shows that a lot of these like rich millionaires are the ones that like have huge high divorce rates and things of that sort. And I think it's because they're just genuinely unhappy. Like, is your woman with you for your security, or did they actually like you as a person? And we're starting to see that, like, yeah, women want me at first, but I don't think it ends well, because after a while, like, they want you for your security. They don't want you for who you are as a person and things of that sort. And that's why we see these millionaires and all these, like, really alpha males getting high divorce rates, because I think at first it starts off with, like, security.
Yeah, because the women get half. Hello.
Yeah, I think so.
No.
Yeah, no, it's a trap.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
I'm about to say you educate me. That's why I came here.
A man can just be friends with an attractive woman.
Ooh.
Can?
Cat.
I disagree.
No technicality.
I
bro.
agree.
Yeah, Ellie and I have
So,
had
I
this
think it's
argument
all
several
about-
times.
Yeah, me and my brother vehemently disagree on this. But I'm not a man. And I will admit that I'm not a man. So have I just been lied to by every guy who wants to be my friend forever?
Yes.
I don't want that black pill, because that would make me really upset.
As we've been saying before, it's all about choices. I think if you find a woman attractive, it depends on, are you gonna choose to pursue her or not? But for some of us, like, if we're speaking from personal experience, I've met many attractive women, and that's not the only thing that, I'm looking for. It's also about personality. So she can be a 10, but if it's like the personality is just, someone who doesn't challenge me on a spiritual level, emotional level, someone who also is like emotionally unavailable, like, then it doesn't really matter.
I have friends who, like, I would consider very attractive, but then at the same time, and when I think about it, I wouldn't be able to stand like being alone in a room with them for like, more than like 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
I can acknowledge
you
if,
know
like,
that your
certain
friend,
female
though?
friends of mine are attractive, but doesn't mean I'm like sexually attracted to them. And it comes to a point where like I see them as like sisters or just such close friends that even like the thought of them naked like grosses me out, because like I just don't see
Yeah,
them
like
I see them
I've
as,
had what he's talking about. I've had that friendship with someone before, where like I've been best friends with a male, and we have like we never talked about dating, but like the conversation of us dating other people had come up, and like this just the hypothetical of us ever doing something like that was like cringe for both of us. Like it was actively like I could tell that he wasn't lying to me. So I it's just it is possible.
I don't want to speak in absolutes, okay? I shouldn't speak in absolutes. So I will say this. And I will reframe, after hearing them talk to, and thinking about what we've talked about with this stuff, I will reframe my thought to say that it is the exception and not the rule when a man befriends a girl that he finds attractive with no intention. I don't think that it is impossible, but I think that it is the exception and not the rule.
I don't think rule is a good word either. Like, it's not a rule that like
It's not the norm.
not the norm, perhaps.
I
Yeah,
think that
I can agree with that.
Most men who befriend an attractive woman have, even if it's deep down inside, have thoughts in their head of saying, "If I get the chance, I'm going to take it."
I agree with that, and it really sucks. A lot of guys that I've been friends with, you know, come out later and are like,
They can't hide their crazy forever, right?
yeah, guys can't hide their crazy forever. Neither can women. Women can't hide their crazy forever, but
Yeah,
I'm a
that's
lot
general thing, yeah.
I'm a lot better. Yeah, it's non-binary, but I'm a lot better at being able to like tell who likes me a little bit and who doesn't.
Very close, like almost like family in some cases and things of that sort. And you know, sometimes like you grow up with certain women and like you see them as like a sister, or you see them as a close friend, and you just grow up and you don't see her like that.
Fundamentally,
Okay, yes, if you grow up with someone, yeah, that.
Yeah,
I mean, yes, but
if you grow up with
but I'm
someone,
not-
or if you have like a professional relationship with someone, or like a work relationship, or like, you know, like or like if you like a teacher, like obviously. So, but when it comes to like friends, like hanging out all the time, you know, like school friends, college friends, where you see each other all the time in a casual atmosphere, I think most of the time, yes, men actually secretly like those girls.
I think you're giving men even too much credit here. I can give you a 3-letter named person from recently who we know is collecting women in the business. You know?
Oh yeah.
I think you're giving men too much credit here. I think that most men also who hire women into positions when they have the ability to have intentions with them as well. Which is why I said to you on when we were traveling yesterday that I wouldn't, like, when I was in a position to hire, I wouldn't hire a girl that came in with a skirt on. I won't do it. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like that, I think you're giving men too much credit here.
And what is possible, I think, are two different things. Is it natural to not be attracted to a very attractive woman to you? I don't think so. But with a lot of intention with it, and your priorities are elsewhere, and you're very intentional with how you're showing up in that space, I think you can do it. And I think that was the question, if it can be done, not if it's natural or not.
That's probably a good way to say it. If you want to preserve your own career, you're not going to act on it. That doesn't mean you aren't thinking it.
If I'm attracted to you, honestly, I'm trying to smash. You understand? We gotta have sex, and we have to be in some type of sexual situation, or I don't really want to, you know, interact with you. On top of that, I don't believe in giving women non-sexual attention unless we're in a relationship. And the reason why is because I feel like non-sexual attention from a man towards a woman is very valuable. So I'm not just giving you that just to be friends. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not just going to do that for you. And so what it is that if I'm going to do that for you, you have to be under my program, which means that we're in some sort of sexual relationship between me and you. You see what I'm saying? So that's how I look at that.
I think that
That's
men and women can be friends.
Yeah,
It's just not because the man wants
so
to.
gross.
Most often, it's the man is trying to sleep with the woman.
Right.
He said
They're
it.
trying to hang around long enough for her to slip up and make that.
He said it.
Let's keep it 100.
He's right
Like,
about
so
this.
can they? Yes, and that would have been the technicality. Like when I saw you moving, I'm like.
He said what I said. He's exactly right about
Overall,
that.
most of the time, you're not going to see a man be friends with a very overweight woman. You're not going to see a man be friends with a very unattractive woman unless there's some kind of financial reward there. So by and largely, I don't buy guy friends, particularly with any girl I'm seeing. It's like, yeah, right.
I think when I think about it, like, and I had a technicality on the other side because I'm like, yeah, part of me really believes that can happen. But then I go back to my experience in life and my friends, and it's really hard. I was running over there in my head, like, should I sit down? But I was running all these scenarios from life experience of my friends who have said that, girls and guys, because it's not just guys, and it's never worked out that way. It just never is. And I think if you find a person can be an attractive person, and you not find that person attractive, and you be friends.
You have friendship
and
attraction.
That's my thing. Part of a relationship is friendship and getting along, and then on top of it, you find that person attractive.
No way.
I just think it's a very rare thing. You know, yes, a person.
I guess that's the point here is that like.
Person, but if I'm finding that, or if you're finding that person attractive,
yeah, if you find that person attractive, then it's gonna be difficult to be friends. I guess. Yeah, I guess when it's worded in that very specific way, I can see the conundrum for sure.
Yeah.
If you guys find if if you find them attractive and if there's like a mutual attractive, like, then why even staying friends at that point? Like, if there's mutual attraction, but if it's attraction on one side, it would be difficult for you to be friends with that woman. So why are you being friends with that woman if you find her attractive that way? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Banana Republic over here said he also said it right on. Like, you're not going to find men that just like casually befriend women that would be considered unattractive anyway, too. Like, you don't see that very much. You don't see men trying to be friends with women who are unattractive. You just don't.
Like emotionally, like
I think it's
parasocial
it's
relationships.
Yeah,
I think that's
in
like
a nutshell.
when you look at specific situations. So for some of these females that work,
girls
for you, for
prove
example,
that.
if they're very attractive, do you feel? I would imagine you have the capacity to compartmentalize that.
Gift from God, yeah, man. The second it's on their check, it's gone.
It's gone, right?
Wow.
So I think it's the same thing with friends as significant others as well. It's like I have the ability to compartmentalize it, where it's like, all right, this attraction just dissipates.
So is that the barrier that can make a man friends with an attractive woman? If there's that barrier of him being in a relationship, or you working for them?
Well, first of all, we're not friends. You work for me.
Right.
You know, I care about you fully. You're part of the family, but you work for me. We're not personal friends. And me and you will not be in an atmosphere we're alone.
Right. So when you go back to it, is it a thing where if you're both single,
That's how I ran
do
things
you all
when I was
think that you could be
manager, too.
friends with an attractive woman? If we're both single.
Hell no.
Nope. I don't know.
No.
I don't.
No.
A man
That's why I would
should
not
not
hire
cry
women that I
in
even
front of
kind
his
of thought
kids.
were attractive.
Yeah, I see. I mean, I think that there's a lot of crap right now where, like, if a woman is alone in a room with a man, she'll like spread lies about him easily. So.
Well, yeah. Remember I told you yesterday, in the business world, it's CYA first, cover your ass, and you got to look out for potential threats, right? That's what he's talking about here. Like, you can't take that kind of risk when your life is at stake with your job.
Yeah.
That responsibility, I want that responsibility in my life. I want to feel like I was a hero to them in every way. And I don't think a man that cries in front of his family is not the hero. But ideally, I'm not going to be doing that.
Right. It's weird. I've never actually seen my dad cry till this day. Like, not even once. The kids is looking to their father.
And you've really turned out great, didn't you, buddy?
I know, right? Yeah, you're a model of a perfect man, right?
Yeah, never saw your dad cry, and you sure are an inspiration to healthy men.
It's a bad representation of what you're supposed to be in that situation for them.
Now, I'll tell you when I do cry. Bro, when you see like one of those kids with Down syndrome get put in a high school basketball game, he starts nailing threes and the gym goes crazy, bro, I'll be crying my ass off. I'm so happy for the kid. It's like happy, I'm like laughing, I'm like, but other than that, man, no, not at all.
Come on.
Calm the heat.
That's just, see, ugh.
He's gross.
Can the person who like has kids?
I have a father who I've never seen cry, so I get that. I was that man. Again, you have to understand my kids. My middle daughter, who I'm going to talk about, is 26 years old. Now, for some reason, out of all three of my children, that middle girl, from the time she turned 13 to 17, 18, we just butted heads, right? And the relationship wasn't going to where it should be going. And I want to be close to my kids. We sat down, she was about 20, maybe 19, 20 years old. We had a heart-to-heart about our feelings and how we really felt about each other, and I cried. And 7 years later, better relationship than we've ever had, because she saw a human part of me.
Yeah.
And not just me trying to be what you guys are talking about,
Yep.
which is a good thing too. You can count, my wife can count on one hand how many times she's seen me cry. I think my son had, and my other daughter have it. But I'm going to tell you, for that enriching moment, and that's again just coming with years, of having those tears with her and talking about how important it was that our relationship worked, and then hearing her come back and saying she felt the same way and breaking through that, I'm the father, I'm going to be the strong one, made her break down, and both of us be closer than we ever were.
I have a corroborating thing to say with that. I mean, I don't want to take too long. I don't want to get too personal with this. And I don't. My stepdad and I were always at odds, kind of, because I was the adopted son, and he and I never really saw eye to eye and got along very much at all. But he had he has a lot of problems, and it kind of hit a peak about 10 years ago when he did something real stupid that put him in ICU and almost ended his life. And because of the state of his relationship with my mother, nobody would go see him in the hospital. Literally nobody. I was the only person who went to see him in the hospital while he was recovering. And me seeing him in that like weakened state I know this sounds kind of bad, but me seeing him in that weakened state and seeing the human in him made we've been close since. Like he's had a very deep respect for me ever since then. That he never showed to me before that.
Yeah,
So
I definitely agree with that. That if you're able to look at your parents in a human way, it'll be better for the relationship.
I think so too. I absolutely think so.
That if you could have set her down earlier than the age that you did and just had a vulnerable conversation, that maybe it could have happened, like it wouldn't have had to build all the way up to tears.
No.
She wouldn't have been able to hear it, or
No, because what was going on, from my understanding of our relationship, is that, you know, young people, I'm very independent, my children are very independent. They don't want to be controlled in a certain way. And as a father, you still have to keep that control. She was only seeing that side. So she was only seeing this domineering person trying to squish what she thought that she wanted to be or who she wanted to be. And that wasn't it. I was just trying to play the father role. I saw my dad do it. Never a tear. He's that man, you know, and I was raised by that man, and I took that on. I remember sitting my son down and telling him, boys don't cry. And I still to this day regret that. And I still talk to him. He's 24. I still talk to him about I was wrong, because I do not think that's the way we're supposed to live our lives. And I think that's why you go back to the statistic of how a lot of men are depressed. We're supposed to have emotions. We're human. Now, I don't believe every time you turn around, you should be in front of your children, ooh, and your wife, like, you know, I think that's a drastic thing. But I know dropping a tear as a father for me made a relationship and so much closer and so much better than it would. I'm telling you, I know than it would have ever been.
You don't think you could have shown that vulnerability without the tear?
No.
Oh, come on.
Was capable of expressing emotion, not from the standpoint of being a whiny little baby. He held it down on my family. My parents are the happiest couple I've ever seen, still to this day. But my dad was able to, and still is able to, at funerals, be able to show emotion. During movies, when he feels the emotion, be able to show up and do that. I'd never see him whining about, like what you guys are saying, whining about just issues happening in his life, like at work and what he's doing. Never. He deals with that on his own. But he is showing up vulnerably when he is experiencing an emotion, not from a whiny baby place, but from a freeness that he has with it. And I even think, like when I first went off to college, you know, he's tearing up too.
So I would just like to say, this is a field I specialize in. I'm a program manager for a nonprofit that focuses on mental health. And a lot of the times what we get in our clients are men that are coming in dealing with childhood trauma, these expectations and standards of trying to live up to the quote unquote masculine ideal. So a lot of the times we have men coming in because they're still trying to seek approval in their 30s, or they're still trying to get that male validation, you know, in their 40s. And it goes back to making sure we understand the difference between regulating your emotions and suppressing them. I think that's why I said earlier, like, to be an alpha, you have to be balanced. You guys can be emotional as well. You guys can be vulnerable. It doesn't make you less than. Just like a woman being more assertive doesn't make her less than a woman. If you feel like you don't want to promote being emotional in front of your kids, you know, I've asked the question, does that kind of fall into toxic masculinity for your son?
Well, first, I didn't say anything about not being vulnerable. Vulnerable is the word that I brought up. So I think being vulnerable is very important. I think physically crying in front of your kids is not ideal. This is not about an ego stroke or trying to be overly masculine. I think being vulnerable as a man is one of the strongest things a man can actually do.
I mean, I think that you should be a strong role model for your children. Like, so I don't think that, you know, as a mother, I should cry in front of my kids whenever I have, you know, emotions that are kind of getting the best of me. That's what my rock is for, right? That's what my husband is for. That's not what my kids are for. But I do think that it is natural and completely okay to cry in front of your children if the situation calls for it. If it has something to do with your children, then sure. But if it has nothing to do with your children, then no, you shouldn't cry in front of your kids, I think, personally.
Everything in moderation, right?
Yeah.
Like, you certainly shouldn't, like, if you're the type that's going to cry at the drop of a hat anyway, maybe you shouldn't have kids in the first place.
Right, yeah.
But that's not because you shouldn't cry in front of your kids. That's because you've got to have some degree of emotional stability to raise healthy children.
Of course, yeah.
So yes, you should be able to regulate your feelings, but I also don't think that it's a good thing to teach your kids that, like, you know, like, don't cry.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
It's not a useless emotion. It's not,
because you want your kids to see you as strong, right? And so if I want my kids to know that if they do something that makes me cry, it's a big deal. Like if I cry all the time, it's not a big deal.
Well, that, and also, like, what takes more courage, crying or not crying?
Yeah, exactly.
So you're limiting your child's potential understanding of what it means to be courageous. Sometimes the most courageous thing you can do is to let yourself be vulnerable.
Yeah. For sure. We're almost done here.
It's just that I don't think that crying, particularly sobbing, is going to be very healthy as the leader and the person that they're supposed to come to for that safety and that care.
But isn't real vulnerability then you're just not being honest? Be like, yo, babe, sorry, I had this thing. I left and I cried, but now I'm here to be strong with you. That's real vulnerability.
I can't think of a scenario where I'd leave to cry.
Yeah.
See, I guess.
Well, but needing feels performative. I'm trying to show you how vulnerable I am.
No, it's not necessarily showing. It's
I think you can be very vulnerable without crying.
Yeah.
How?
People just express their sadness. in different
Yeah, how, for sure. And I definitely have a tendency to, like, if I get super upset about something and it's just like swelling up inside of me, I will definitely like I'll be like, I just gotta go. I gotta go for a walk. And like, this is why I need a good husband. I need a good partner for if I have those moments where like I'm getting really emotionally swelled up, then I can just take a break and have some alone time. And if that means I need to cry outside, you know, under a willow tree by the river for like a half an hour or something, then I should be able to have that. That shouldn't be on my kids, right? That's not their responsibility to take care of me. I need to take care of myself, or, you know, my husband, you know, should be there to help me out too. But I also know that my emotions are not the responsibility of my children. And I want to teach them that their emotions are their responsibility and no one else's as well. So if I am just crying all the time over simple things that I could solve on my own, or that I could work out with my husband, or that I could talk to them in a you know, respectful way and try to teach them how to be more mature, then I'm not being a good role model at that point.
You can be, but I heard what you guys were saying earlier, and I agree with that. It's like, you know, you don't want to be a crybaby about things. We don't, right? But it's like to be at, for instance, if I'm at a funeral and this person meant something to tell me, no, can't do that. Or I see something on television or a movie that moves me, like, you can't do that. It's like kind of like a very weird thing. And I think you guys touched upon that.
There's just like a weird stigma behind like crying, because it seems.
I'm thinking about like my relationship with my mother, and my mother and I got in so many fights because she would get mad. She wouldn't get sad. And maybe if she had been able to, you know, give me a more vulnerable look into her humanity rather than just, you know, denying sadness and moving to anger, then it might have been a lot easier for me in my youth. I don't know, just a thought.
Maybe.
Seems like we keep associating crying with weakness, and the issue is that, like, again, there is a big difference between crying and sobbing. Yeah. So hysterically sobbing, like, I think that you only do if you, like, say you lost a loved one, like, really close to you, like say like your significant other, say like horrible accident, like stuff like that, you know. Like, there are obviously scenarios for that. For like regular crying, again, kind of like we all touched upon, that we're not saying that you have to cry every other day, but like there are like cases where it's okay, it should be okay.
As kids, we look up to our dads to be able to how do we react to certain scenarios. Do you feel that, like, okay, like, for instance, like, my dad didn't cry. I don't think I've ever seen my dad cry. I've seen very bad, like, sad scenarios, straight face, you know, and I feel like I developed that as, like, a kid. Like, as I got older, like, I have to keep this inside because that's exactly just how I saw my dad do it. How would you basically, like, explain to your kids how they feel like they should let out their sadness? Should they keep, especially if you feel like you're not really expressing sad emotions in front of them?
I think probably the best thing I can do is, like, explain to you what my goal as a father is to explain them the truth of the world. Truly, hey, this is the truth of the world. This is how the world is. Here's some competencies and things you can do to set yourself up, because my ultimate goal for my children is to have choice. So I can have a son, he could be gay, he could cry. He could be straight, he could cry. Like I could have daughters that were dominant masculine. I don't care as long as they have choice. I personally, my preference And what I aspire to be and what I want to be and what I get to be is that strong man for my family.
We all kind of believe that like we have to be a hero for our kids, right? Especially when they're super young. And honestly, I agree. I think it's totally like you need to be a role model for your kids, you know, and you need to be a safe space, which I completely agree with. But things happen as they grow up, you know what I mean? Especially when they go towards their teen years, when they start being more in touch with their emotions, when they're actually like feeling a lot of different things and feeling the pressure of society and everything that's collapsing around them. Sometimes they don't just need like a hero, they need a father to like commune with, to like actually talk with.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what do we think?
Well, I think that it got better as it went on, but and I think that I found some perspective that I agreed with from some of the more prominent betas and some of the more prominent alphas. Some of those people were just like NPCs; they didn't say much of anything. Really. Maybe they were the true betas.
Yeah.
But what I found is that alpha men have a lot of healthy male proclivities and propensities in terms of the idea of self-respect that they use in horrible, broken, disproportionate ways. And I think that the betas are lacking in the amount of self-respect to be able to take on some of the roles that the man needs to take on in our culture. So like I think that I don't know. It just seems like both sides are missing balance in their own way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I agree with that. I wish they had Sigma males on there, but Sigma males would have been too rational. And they need a debate.
Yeah, because like the blue jacket dude, sometimes he said things that were incredibly poignant and accurate, and then he'd follow it up with the dumbest thing that he could possibly say, like the dumbest conclusion to come to as a result of it. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree, Kyle. That was definitely one of the better topics at the end. I think the questions could have been better. I mean, Jubilee is hit or miss. I mean, Jubilee is probably compromised. So, in the ways that we all know that media is compromised these days, but it was fun. It's a good job, good time. Thank you guys so much for being here. Make sure to leave a comment down below at the bottom of this video and make sure to like the video as well. I am going to be offline for a little bit, taking a break, but I will probably be streaming on Twitch later, and Zach will be streaming on Rumble on the Tinfoil Fedoras. So make sure that you guys follow. We also have a YouTube channel, but no, go to the Rumble Tinfoil Fedoras. I also have a Rumble account, Alien Videoland. If you guys want to follow me there in case you know, Google ever shuts me down, which, you know, one day they might decide they just want to. So that's how this works, right?
Yeah.
My privilege. So thank you for being here. I always appreciate everyone coming in. Thanks for the support. Thank you for the kind words. You can join my Discord as well if you like. I'll put that in the description box of this video, and I will see you later. If you have any recommendations for things for me to react to in the future, you can post them in my Discord or let me know in the comments down below. I hope you guys have a great night, and I will see you very soon.
Take care.